Right, welcome everyone to the second stream of the day. We are now doing Crystal Palace versus Everton. So if you do go on to enjoy this and you want to see more live commentaries involving your team, hit the subscribe button. We are now 3 subscribers away from 1,400, so that will be the goal for, I guess, half time maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens between now and the game. So if we go through the 2 lineups, then we'll go through all the other lineups of the 3 o'clock Premier kickoffs. So the 2 teams, Guaita is in goal for Crystal Palace. They have Ward, Kelly, Dan, Van Aanholt, Townsend, Milivojevic, MacArthur, Maya, Benteke and Ayew. So no Zaha in the starting 11. He's on the bench though. Kouyaté is also on the bench. Hennessy's on the bench. Wickham, McCarthy, Camarasa, their new signing, and also Gary Cahill, their new signing, on the bench. So it's an alright side from Crystal Palace. It could be a lot better if they had Zaha in there. Camarasa could go in there, but instead of MacArthur, I guess. But we'll see what happens today. But let's refresh it. We should have a few people watching from the last game, which was the 3rd most views on my channel, like on a stream, I believe, at one time. My record's 900. I've also had 300, and on the one we just did I had 250 towards the end of the game, so that was amazing. But welcome to the stream, Josh Taylor. Hope you enjoyed the Leeds commentary, because I know you're a Leeds fan. What are your thoughts on the game? Did you think... Because I know your goal was offside apparently. Like Bamford was offside though, so... We'll have to see, because... There'll be a lot of controversy in that game, I think. Because it could have gone either way. I think Leeds or Nottingham Forest could have had a penalty. Not sure which team, but one of them could have had a penalty. And then Leeds' goal was apparently offside, so... It'd be interesting to see what everyone thinks of that game. But the Everton lineup, they have Pickford in goal, Coleman right back, I believe. Well, yeah, he is. But Keane and Mina centre-back, Digne left-back, Schneiderlin, Gomez and Sigurdsson in the midfield with Bernard, Richarlison on the wings, I believe, I think. And Calvert-Lewin up top. So Moise Keane on the bench. Gabanim, don't know how to pronounce that, but he's on the bench, their new signing. Lossell on the bench, their new signing. No Iwobi involved today. We'll hopefully see him soon. But it's a pretty decent side. Sidibe is also not involved, so we'll see if Coleman can do well today. My prediction, I commented my predictions on an Instagram post earlier. I'll try and find that, see what my prediction for this game was. Right, where is that comment I put? I know the account I put it on. Let me just find that account, get that out. And look what my prediction was. I think it was like 1-0 Everton, my prediction, but I'll just make sure. My prediction was 1-0 Everton, but looking at the 2 sides, it's a bit different than I thought. But without Zaha, it'll be interesting to see how Ayew and Benteke do. Same with Calvert-Lewin. I think it'll still be 1-0 Everton, but we'll have to wait and see. Comment your predictions, and we'll see if anyone can get it correct. I didn't see anyone put 1-0 in the previous stream, so don't think anyone got that correct. Shame putting the Santa emoji. swear he always uses that emoji. It's just the most random emoji. He always uses it. It was a good game, but Leeds should have had 3 pens. So yeah, I know a team should have had 3 pen. No, not 3 pens. So I knew a team should have had a penalty, but I didn't know which one it was. But judging by what you've just put, it's probably Leeds. I'll have to watch the highlights in the evening, see if they add that to the highlights. But in the in the game that's just happened, Man City winning 5-0, so they go top of the league. This is how the table looks at the moment. Man City top, Liverpool second, with West Ham at the bottom, Norwich 19th. But all of these games are still to come. There is 4 games happening in the Premier League at the moment. But we're going to go through all them games now. So Bournemouth, Sheffield United. So Sheffield United's first Premier League game in ages. I can't remember the last time we were in the Premier League, but it would be the first time I've watched them play in the Premier League in my life, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. I remember Cardiff played Bournemouth away from home in the first game last season. They were runners up in the Championship, so see what happens there. Burnley are at home to Southampton, which is going to be a decent game. I think it will be 1-1 or something. Crystal Palace Everton is obviously the game we're doing, and then Watford v Brighton, which was the exact same fixture as last season, which Watford won 2-0. So we'll see if they can win 2-0 this time, or at least win. See if Brighton have improved and see how their new manager does, Graham Potter. Because I did predict them last place, Brighton, so we'll see how they do today. Obviously, we've got Tottenham Villa later on today. That's the live commentary we'll be doing then. But if we go on home, we go back onto football. We go on all the scores and fixtures today. We'll have a look at all the EFL fixtures happening at the moment. So, gone through all of them. Celtic winning 5-2 against Motherwell. It was 3-1 when I last saw, but Edu, I don't know how to pronounce that. He scored, and Christie scoring a penalty, and then Donnelly scoring his second of the game as a consolation. So Celtic winning 5-2. They are now on 6 points, I believe. Livingston are currently winning 2-0 against St Johnstone, 40 minutes in. Then Hamilton Academical are playing Kilmarnock. Hearts are playing Rots County. And then in the Championship, the game we just did live commentary for, finished 1-1. Pablo Hernandez getting his second of the season, and Graben getting his first of the season. So if we look at the top scorers now, Hernandez is top with Lawrence. Graben getting his first goal of the season, so he's along with every other goal scorer this year. But the other fixtures in the Championship today, we have gone through them twice, but we'll go through them again. Birmingham taking on Bristol City, so winner from last week and a loser. Cardiff taking on Luton. Cardiff lost their first game, Luton drew their first game. Charlton are playing Stoke. Charlton winning their first game, Stoke losing. And Derby are playing Swansea. Swansea won their game, I believe, against Hull. And then Derby, I think, lost to... No, Derby won. So I think both teams there have a 100% record. So we'll see if any of them... We'll see what happens in that game. Fulham losing their first game, same with Blackburn. So one of these teams or both of them teams are going to get their first points of the season. Hull are playing Reading. I believe both teams lost. So same with that game. Middlesbrough v Brentford. Middlesbrough drawing 3-3, and then Brentford losing to Birmingham. And then Preston v Wigan. Wigan won, Preston lost, and then QPR won, Huddersfield lost. And then Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley both won, so that'll be an interesting game. See if any of those teams can go on 6 points, which would put them top of the league, I believe. And then West Brom v Millwall. Josh Taylor says 0-0 as his prediction. Don't know if I already read that, but Jack says, are you showing the Everton game? I'll show you what I'm going to be doing. So if we go on here, we go here. This is what we're going to be showing. We're going to be showing this, and then we're going to put commentary on for the game. So I'm not going to be showing the actual game because of copyright, but we'll show this instead, which is the closest I can do without actually showing the game. So I'm not going to be showing the game, but I'm going to be doing that with commentary over the top. But if we go on BBC Sport again, we'll go on League One fixtures. Just going to refresh my thing. Right, where's my thing? There it is. So we got 10 people in here, which is pretty decent. But going through League One games, Accrington Stanley and Barry got called off. Bolton are playing Coventry. Bristol Rovers are playing Wickham. Fleetwood are playing Wimbledon. Gillingham playing Burton. Ipswich playing Sunderland. MK Dons are playing Shrewsbury. Oxford are playing Peterborough. Portsmouth playing Tranmere. Rochdale playing Doncaster. Rotherham playing Lincoln, and then Southend playing Blackpool. So those are all of the fixtures. Jack Wallace says Leeds done well earlier. Yeah, apparently they deserved the win. They should have had 3 penalties that weren't given apparently, but your goal was apparently offside. So I don't know, but apparently looking at the stats, you were the better team, I think. But in League 2, currently Grimsby are drawing 1-1 with Bradford. We'll see how that finishes, like in 10 minutes' time. Cambridge are playing Newport. Cheltenham are playing Scunthorpe. Crawley are playing Salford. Macclesfield are playing Leyton Orient. Mansfield playing Morecambe. Oldham playing Crewe. Plymouth playing Colchester. Port Vale playing Northampton. Stevenage playing Exeter. Swindon playing Carlisle. And Walsall playing Forest Green. Then we have loads of non-league games. We have loads of FA Cup games and stuff. I was at the game. We definitely were the better team, yeah. If we look at the stats quickly now, looking at the stats, they had 6 shots in the second half, and yeah, you definitely deserved the win. But that offside goal, but apparently you deserve 3 penalties, so I'm not too sure. But at least you're still unbeaten. You're at the moment top of the league. I doubt you will be at the end of the day, but we'll have to wait and see. But now we're going to focus on the game we're doing commentary for, which is Crystal Palace v Everton. We'll look at the match facts, I guess, unless it's not there, which it doesn't look like it, so it looks like we're not looking at match facts. Referees Jonathan Moss. We've got 10 minutes till kick-off. We'll look at the other teams' lineups and stuff. So Bournemouth are going with Ramsdale, Metham, Cook, Ake, Smith, Billing, Lerma, Rico, King, Fraser and Wilson. Decent team. They're not playing they're playing that Ramsdale guy who's on loan at Wimbledon, I believe. So that's interesting. They got Borch on the bench. Then for Sheffield United, they're playing Henderson, Basham, Ian, O'Connell, Baldock, Lundstram, Norwood, Flett, Stevens, McGoldrick and Robertson. So a lot of their signings on the bench for this game. Switch to Burnley Southampton now. And Pope's in goal, Loughton right back, me, Tarkowski centre back, Peters left back, Goodmanson on the right, Cork Westwood in the centre mid spots, McNeil on the left, and Wood and Barnes up top, which just is probably one of the better sides they can have. But on the bench they got new signing Rodriguez, Drinkwater's not involved, and then just some of their decent players on the bench that sometimes play, sometimes on the bench. As for Southampton, they got Gunn in goal, Bedonek, Stevens, Vestergaard, Valerie, Ward-Prowse, Romeu, Bertrand, Adams, Redmond and Ings. So Adams making his Premier League debut for Southampton. On the bench, Bufal's still at Southampton. I never knew. I swear he left permanently for Celta Vigo. I never knew he was still there. We'll see if he leaves, but he's on the bench today. As is new signing Degenepo. Don't know how you pronounce that. Cedric's back from his loan spell. He's on the bench. But final game is Watford-Brighton. Watford playing Foster, Firmania, Dawson, Cathcart, Holbass, Capu, Doucouré, Hughes, Delafeu, Deeney and Gray. No Danny Welbeck involved today for them. No Sarr involved for them either. As for Brighton, they got Ryan in goal, Duffy, Dunk centre back. I think Burns centre back as well, maybe, or somewhere else. I'm not too sure. Then they have Montoya, Proper, Stevens, Gross, March, Lacadia, and Glenn Murray. So Mupé's on the bench for them. Aaron Moy's on the bench for them. Webster's also on the bench. So we'll see how those games go. We'll keep doing score updates at halftime and stuff. Of course, there's this YouTube with like 200k subs that starts the stream straight after mine and gets so much views. That's going to be annoying. What are the other games? So, Bournemouth, Sheffield United. Could have maybe done a stream for that. But this is probably the best game on today. About Southampton. No, Burnley Southampton. Could have done that. And Watford, Brighton. Could have also done. But I'm sure we'll still get a few people joining into the stream. We had loads on the previous one we did, so if we don't have that much I wouldn't be surprised, but hopefully we get a decent amount. We've got 6 minutes till kick off now. That's the Crystal Palace side. They're playing, I don't know if they're playing Maya at left mid, or I'm not sure if he can play that, but we'll have to wait and see. Are you doing the Everton game? Yes, I am. That's the Crystal Palace side. The Everton team is that. So Richarlison and Bernard at cam, I'm assuming. That's what it looks like anyway. But Iwobi not involved today. Zaha on the bench. Got 4 minutes till kick off. forgot about the final score, but that's on, so I'm gonna watch that probably during these halves. We go on. Not sure what to do. But Alisson's missing the next Liverpool game against Chelsea in the Super Cup, which might help Chelsea a bit. Still think they'll win, but we'll see on the day that happens. It's gone this stream, not stream, this thing. And we'll keep the two lineups on here, I guess. Here you go, we'll do that. And then we'll leave the thing like that until 3. Don't know where my sub count is. Might have to add a sub count then, because that just disappears. See how much subs we're on. Then we'll do some shout outs to anyone that's subscribed that I haven't shouted out already. So we're 3 subs away from 1,400, so that'll be the goal for half time. See if we can get that. This is being annoying, so we're going to have to reload it. There we are, just gained the sub, so thank you to whoever just subbed. Your name probably won't come up between now and half when I put on the commentary, but I'll shout out. I'll do more shout outs at half time, but once it turns 3 we're gonna do shout outs, put on the commentary, and then if you have any questions I'll answer them in the chat. How long we got? We got around 15 seconds, so we'll do shoutouts now if there's any. Doesn't look like it's updated, so we'll have to do shoutouts at half time, I guess. Don't know what it's on. Cambridge versus Newport. That's not the game we're going to be doing. That's not what we want. We want this. It's started, I believe. The thing's just playing up in a moment, but got the game starting here. I'm going to put on the commentary. Hopefully you guys enjoy the game, and if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And our goal's going to be 1,400 by the end of the half.
Yeremina, and it's now with Michael Keane out to the right hand side, and Seamus Coleman. Everton big spenders of course in the transfer window. The likes of Alex Iwobi, though, and Fabian Delph still not featuring. In comes across from Everton early doors, and it goes towards the near post. Might fall on the edge of the area here. Clipped in, looking for Richarlison, but it's hooked away by the Palace defence, and a shaky start from the home side. Everton on the front foot early on.
Absolutely, yes. It was Coleman on that right hand side tried to chip that ball back into the box. Martin Kelly eventually getting a clearance in, and Everton certainly looking to start on the front foot.
They have a throw on the far side. It's with Seamus Coleman. He flicks up towards the right corner of the penalty area, comes back again, and it goes to Bernard, who's coming field from that left hand side, supported here by Luca Digne down the left flank. He's having a run down the right hand side. I've thought about it anyway against Joel Ward, but in the end goes back, and Everton keep possession down this left hand side with Digne. Plays it in towards that near post. Might be a chance early on. Oh, it's put wide, and what an opportunity for Gylfi Sigurdsson. And if you want a player running onto a ball inside the penalty area there, and a cool head, you think it might be the Iceland international, but what a chance right in the centre of the goal, about the penalty spot. He's completely shanked it, and it's gone wide of the left-hand post.
Should be 1-0. It's as simple as that, John. When that ball drops to Sigurdsson, if he puts his laces through that like we know he can, it's going to be in the back of the net without a doubt. But he tries to sort of side foot it, gets it all wrong, bounces that ball into the turf, and it's a really bad effort from Sigurdsson in the end.
Yeah, it's a windy day actually in South London. Balls just blown around. A lot of bad weather up and down the country. To say it's the start of August, and Gaeta's just struggling to put the ball down at the moment and get it to stop. Anyway, it's blown away again. He's going to have to replace it. So while he's doing that, I'll go through the two-team lineup. Then Palace have Gaeta in goal, Joel Ward, Martin Kelly, Scott Dan, and Patrick Van Arnholt to the back four. Andros Townsend, Luka Milivojevic, James MacArthur, and Max Mayo, Christian Benteke, and Jordan Ayew up front. But we think that might be a 4-3-3 at times for Palace this afternoon. I'll go through the Everton team for you in a moment. It's out to this left-hand side. Palace trying to get on the ball in these early stages. New faces as far as Palace are concerned. Most of them are going to come from the bench. Gary Cahill, Victor Camarasa, and also James McCarthy, the former Everton man, signed on deadline day by Roy Hodgson. We thought it was going to be a package involving Zaha going the other way with Cenk Tosun, but Tosun is on the Everton bench this afternoon. They can call on the likes of Moise Kean, the Juventus youngster, later on in the game. But as I say, no Fabian Delph today, and no Alex Iwobi either. They do have Andre Gomez starting to Everton. He was signed permanently in the summer after his loan spell last season. They have Pickford in goal, Coleman, Keane, Mina and Digne the back four. Schneiderlin, perhaps maybe surprisingly, in that holding midfield role. He was almost on the move over the last couple of weeks. Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson supporting Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Bernard. And Everton have just got to do a bit of defending here down the right-hand side. Michael Keane claiming a foul by Christian Benteke. I suppose, Paul, we're not going to know which Christian Benteke is going to turn up this season, because he hasn't turned up the whole of last season, has he?
And the season before that, I suppose, as well. He's had a tough time of it at Palace, really. Christian Benteke has had injury problems and real problems in terms of getting goals, but they keep plumping for him. He is still the main man, and you would imagine that if he gets the service, he should still be getting the goals. You don't forget that kind of scoring ability that he had all those years ago at Villa. Started to go wrong for him at Liverpool, really. He's never really had a decent run of form since he's been at Palace.
And of course, Crystal Palace's home form was well documented last season, and they only got 20 home points and 19 home goals in the whole of last season. That's one a game, isn't it, in the grand scheme of things, and that's not good enough. That's got to change if Crystal Palace are going to have a half decent season, and many people tipping them to struggle, particularly if they had a lost Zaha. The fact they have kept him, but is he going to be a happy Zaha between now and January? That's the question. Might find out a little bit later on. Here come Palace down the left-hand side with Benteke. I don't think he's kept that in over on the left-hand side. In fact, he hasn't. And the ball has gone out of play, and it will be a throw into Everton down the far side of the field. Early stages at Selhurst Park, and Everton have made a lightning start. They should be already one goal to the good. Ball down the left-hand side. Luca Digne swung it in towards the near post. It deflected into the path of Gylfi Sigurdsson, who was all on his own about 12 yards out. He hit it first time, but he came off the outside of his boot and went wide of Gaeta's left-hand post. Windy conditions at Selhurst Park. Both teams struggling somewhat to get the ball on the floor. It's swirling around. Palace have made a slow start by comparison. They've hardly had the ball in the opening few minutes, but it's Everton on top, but it is still 0-0.
Yeah, still goalless in these early stages. Certainly Everton making the better impression there. Benteke not able to keep that ball in play. He was actually offside as he went for that ball, and now it is going to be the visitors who are going to try to get out of their own half again. But Marco Silva knows that he's going to be under a lot of pressure this season, considering that there has been so much spent at Everton. For all the signings, they're still pretty much sticking with Calvert-Lewin as their main goal threat. Richarlison sticking to the wide role, although he did get some joy playing through the middle a few times for Everton last season as well. And just as we say that, the ball is back now with Pickford. The visitors certainly looking to keep the ball early on and try and put a bit of pressure on this Crystal Palace side, who, as John mentioned, really did struggle at home last season. They had some excellent results away from that famous win away at Manchester City, of course, springs to mind. And Townsend, of course, who had a major role in that game, scoring that fantastic goal. He's hardly had a touch of the ball so far in this game. But Johnny, looking at the way Palace have set up today, do you think that they are going to be able to threaten Everton in defence?
Not too sure, actually. They don't look as though they've got the goal threat really with the likes of Christian Benteke. As I say, we don't think he's in that good a form from the end of last season as well, and has really struggled for goals recently. And it's going to be Everton who have the ball on this left-hand side. Luca Digne again having trouble with the wind, trying to get the ball under control. It's going to be a problem all afternoon by the looks of it, as the camera pans in on Moise Kean, who could be thrust into the action into the second half. Maybe a lot of pressure on his shoulders, Paul, the young man from Juventus.
Yeah, well, he certainly arrives with a reputation, and that means that he's going to have to sort of start on the front foot, isn't he? And on the bench this afternoon, there are a few big players that Everton have brought in, so they are going to have to try and bed those players in game by game. And as I say, if they don't get a couple of good results early on, Everton, there will be pressure, because the Everton faithful always have big expectations, and with all the players brought in over the summer, they'll certainly heighten those expectations as well. But 8 minutes gone so far. Ball just goes out of play around about the halfway line on the left-hand side for Everton. So it'll be Luca Digne to get us started again. So it does look like a very windy day in South London this afternoon, which will have an effect on the ball as it goes up in the air. Out for another throw to Everton down the left-hand side.
Yeah, Digne has been influential so far. We'll keep you up to date with what's happening elsewhere in the Premier League. Remember, Manchester City off to a flyer. They've won 5-0 at West Ham already today. A hat-trick for Raheem Sterling. And Luca Digne's seen a lot of the ball for Everton in the early seasons, but as I say that, he's just lost out. Andre Gomez could be a key signing though, couldn't he, for Everton this season. A lot thought they wouldn't get him permanently, and they've managed to do so.
Yeah, there seems to be a real rankle over the transfer fee, but in the end they've been able to secure his service. As you say, he was a big player for Everton last season, and when you've had a good season on loan, the club wanted him. I think he wanted to come back as well, so it's good they've been able to get that one across the line.
Palace have it on the halfway line. 9 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0. Gaeta thumps it right-footed over the halfway line, and it just drifts away. And again, the windy conditions playing a part. Usually glorious sunshine at the start of the new football season. Not the case this time around, though. Here's Seamus Coleman, who lines up this throw, and it's hooked on by Gomez. Palace have hardly had any sort of possession, have they, in this opening 10 minutes?
Well, certainly not in the attacking third.
Yeah.
They've had a bit of the ball in midfield, but to actually get forward and put any kind of pressure on Jordan Pickford, they've not been able to do that as yet. And Everton looking fairly comfortable so far.
Interesting to see what sort of season Richarlison will have. He started his season with Watford and his season with Everton on fire, and then sort of tailed off a little bit in both campaigns, so we'll see what happens. We'll talk about him in a second. Here's a free kick though to Palace. Could be their strength from set pieces. It's played in, it's drifted over everybody though, and it goes out of play. Not reading the conditions.
I was going to say, are we going to blame the wind for that a little bit? I think Milivojevic has just flighted that one too much. Wasn't enough sort of dip on the ball, and it just went all the way out towards the far side from where he was taking that free kick, and give away a possession.
It's down this left hand side. Calvert-Lewin loses out though, and here's James MacArthur for Crystal Palace back to Gaeta, and we can see the wind buffeting against his shirt, and just plays it out. Gary Cahill, remember, on the bench, surprised someone didn't snap him up a bit earlier in the transfer window, released by Chelsea at the end of last season.
We certainly got all the experience, and I think that his last year at Chelsea just probably gave the wrong impression as to just how good of a defender he still can be. There was a lot of talk he might go back to his boyhood club, Sheffield United, and quite surprised really that one didn't come through. But perhaps perhaps he was keen on staying in London. Perhaps he doesn't even have to move house to play at Palace, so that might have had something to do with it as well.
Ball's booted. It's just gone from one end of the pitch to the other at the minute. Gaeta just collected a big long hoof downfield from Everton, which caught on the wind. It looks to be a swirling wind round Sellers Park, because then Gaeta's just kicked it forward and it's gone straight through to Jordan Pickford.
Well, it's comparatively to other stadiums, it's quite a small stadium, Sellers Park, isn't it? It hasn't got huge stands, so that wind is going to get into that stadium, is going to make an effect, as Pickford under a bit of pressure there, under a lot of pressure in fact, 2 Palace players breaking into the box, but the goalkeeper is able to play it out and the ball is cleared away.
Keane plays it forward. It's headed out of play by Palace over on the far side of the field. No goals elsewhere in the Premier League, and it's Scott Dann who deals with it. This one that Scott Dann probably you would think might be the partner for Gary Cahill, and Martin Kelly perhaps missing out of the two. We'll have to wait and see. Here Everton down the left hand side again. Digne in a well advanced position, plays it back to Bernard here. Bernard, that's a decent ball in towards Gylfi Sigurdsson, tried to turn it onto Calvert-Lewin, but broken up by Palace. They might have the break on here, but Yerry Mina uses those long legs to get across the Colombian, and Bernard has it down the left-hand side, finds Andre Gomez in plenty of space, looking for options, just plays it short here to Schneiderlin for Everton, and now Yeremina back in possession once more. And it goes to Keane. Keane out to the right-hand side, Seamus Coleman. It's blocked by Patrick Van Arnholt. Of course, the big loss in the Palace defence is on the other side of the pitch with Wan-Bissaka. Aaron Wan-Bissaka moving on to Manchester United, £50 million. But they couldn't turn down that money for a fullback.
They couldn't, no. And as I say, as young a player as he is, and everything suggests he is going to be a future England international and a regular in the Premier League, you still have to say that it is a lot of money being offered for him. Whether or not Joel Ward is been seen as the long-term answer to just go back into that right-back role, I would have thought that maybe Palace would have looked to have brought someone in for the long term. But for the moment, he is in that position all the time.
Ball's gone out for the first corner of the match. It's gone the way of Everton, as Bernard was trying to get down that left flank, and this is where they could put the goalkeeper under pressure in the wind, and Gylfi Sigurdsson's delivery is usually pretty accurate. Cue a cross right straight over the bar. After I've said that, here comes the corner from Sigurdsson. He's rolled it in low actually. Chance for Everton on the near post. Palace completely asleep. I think Gaeta just got something on that as the shot came in from Richarlison, I think it was, with the left foot.
Well, he surprised us all, didn't he, Sigurdsson? We were worried how's he going to get whip on the ball with all this wind, and he just played a low one along the ground, which Palace weren't initially expecting either, but they managed to get a block in.
Schneiderlin plays it square across the back to Michael Keane. On it goes to Coleman here. It's then taking a deflection, almost bounced into the path of Gylfi Sigurdsson. Palace try and play a ball over the top though, not a bad ball, and Meyer, we've hardly mentioned him in the early stages. Max Meyer trying to take on Seamus Coleman, gets the cross in along the 6-yard line, but it's blocked at the near post by Keane, and out for a throw-in to Palace over on the far side. But the first bit of attacking that Palace have really done so far.
Yeah, Meyer with some space down that left-hand side. We've still not mentioned his right-hand side counterpart, Andros Townsend. He needs to get into the game a bit more, because as soon as he's on the ball, Palace are going to be a lot more threatening. But Meyer, limited options for him there, really. Just played a low ball into the box, which was easily cleared.
Palace restart down the left side. It's towards Jordan Ayew here. Surplus to requirements. I think Swansea had to get him off the wage bill over the course of the summer. They do have financial problems. That's why they've cashed in on a couple of players.
Well, as I say, the parachute payments will be drying up for them now, and they still had a few players on Premier League wages, so there was always a chance that we have to sell a few.
Palace have hurled a throw into the Everton box. It's Bernard making it back there. He did well, the Brazilian. He's played it blindly though, no one really there in a white shirt, and it's back with Gaeta in the Crystal Palace goal. He boots it downfield. Everton should deal with this. They do through Coleman. Gomez just collects it, and it's with Everton once more on this near side of the field with Luca Digne, one of the standout performers for Everton last season. Keane now finds Coleman over on the far side. 15.5 minutes on the watch. 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Everton. And 0-0 everywhere else as well in the Premier League.
It is, yeah, goalless in all other kickoffs, all available on our service this afternoon. Bournemouth against Sheffield United, Burnley, Southampton and Watford, Brighton are the other 3 o'clock kickoffs, and a very interesting one coming up at 5:30. Spurs taking on newly promoted Aston Villa, who've spent probably even more money than anybody else.
Yeah, they certainly have. It all went wrong for Fulham last season, but you get the feeling a little bit more worldly wise to the Premier League, the players that Villa have brought in compared to the Fulham ones from last
Certainly
season.
someone like Heaton stands out as just being a very solid Premier League goalkeeper. And
Rings as well.
Yeah, there's some good signings in that Villa side. Whether or not they can make them all gel is another matter, but it's a tough test for them today away at Spurs, and that's the late kickoff.
16.5 minutes gone here. Not a lot happening, has to be said, between Crystal Palace and Everton. And down the left-hand side it goes with Digne. It's probably seen more of the ball than anyone else. Gomez, sort of a little bit pedestrian in the early stages. It's played out to the right-hand side. Coleman tries to give a little give and go. He's touched on by Sigurdsson, back into Coleman's path. Dan is across, and it hits the Palace man last and goes out, and Everton will restart with a throw-in down the far side. Seamus Coleman captaining the Toffees. Plays Richarlison here onto that left foot. Suddenly a burst of pace and energy from the Brazilian. Everton almost lose it over on the far side with Seamus Coleman. Needs a bit of help, or does he? Goes past his man. Meyer plays the cross in. It's a decent one as well. Good defensive header from Kelly, but it comes out to Bernard on this left-hand corner of the area. To Digne on the overlap. He cuts it back. Palace seem at 6s and 7s a little bit defensively, and Everton are threatening more than the home side.
Well, absolutely. You mentioned there's not much happening, but if anything's happening, it's happening in front of Palace's goal, and that was really nice work from Coleman to get that space to get across, and then a nice through ball there from Bernard on the overlap to get in. Digne. His cross is charged down. It looks like it's going to be a long throw from the Frenchman.
Yeah, it's held upon the wing. That it's headed back, but it's come back to Digne. He's going to roll out for another throw in, but Calvert-Lewin not far away from that cross from Seamus Coleman. Good defending from Kelly, and it comes from Digne again. He's not learnt his lesson there and thrown it high again, and again it held up in the wind, and he's got it back again, the fullback, looking for a free kick there. Nothing doing. John Moss, by the way, is the referee, and that's a loose one from Andre Gomez there. He's given it straight to Jordan Ayew, and Palace have gone all the way back to the goalkeeper. That could have been a promising break for them. And they do have the ball, but again they have it back in their own half of the field. Still Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0, but Everton asking all the questions at the moment in a scrappy game in truth in total, but Everton are carrying the threat. Palace offering very little so far. It's been a poor start to the match from them after that effort from Gylfi Sigurdsson earlier. One or two other little half chances for the Toffees. A low corner from Sigurdsson in a swirling wind, met by Richarlison with Palace asleep at the near post. His shot was blocked by the goalkeeper Gaeta, and then a dangerous cross from Seamus Coleman from the right, and good defending from Martin Kelly. Otherwise Calvert-Lewin may have had a free header towards goal. Palace have not even had an attempt at goal yet in these early stages, and it's still 0-0.
Yeah, still goalless. Ball goes out for a throw on the right-hand side as Everton look. Richarlison there just forced to go out and play the ball. Now goes all the way back towards the halfway line. But Everton are certainly looking comfortable so far. Looking more like the home side, really, even though they're playing in their change, a white strip this afternoon. But they really are looking a lot more composed on the ball, whereas Palace are just trying to do what they can to soak it up and make it as difficult as possible for Everton to play. Here is Yerry Mina, just goes over towards Michael Keane. He then plays a quick ball down the right-hand side. Coleman's found space there again. Coleman gets an early ball in. It's a bouncing ball. If that gets through to Calvert-Lewin, he would have had a shot from close range. But Scott Dan gets across, puts a challenge in, and Everton have a corner.
Yeah, good play again from Everton. They're looking threatening, aren't they? Down those flanks anyway. Coleman and Digne on the other side, certainly causing problems for the Palace defence. Maybe missing Wan-Bissaka already in that right back position. It's going to be corner then to Everton. Mina, of course, we saw his towering header for Colombia in the World Cup last year against England. And in comes the corner towards that near post. Not the best of deliveries on that occasion. Comes back out to Sigurdsson though. Swings it in left-footed, deep across this time. Too deep, I think. Although Bernard might keep that in. He has. Oh, brilliant skill from the Brazilian. Oh, but then he took too long and Palace just managed to get it away. A good skill from Bernard in the first place. It was James MacArthur who stepped in, but Everton are trying to keep the pressure on here. Gomez slides a lovely ball down the left-hand side to Digne, who's almost playing as a left winger in these early stages. 20 minutes gone out for another corner.
He might as well be a left winger. He's certainly not got any work in that left back position, has he? There's absolutely nothing for him to worry about in defence at the moment. And a decent challenge there. I think there may have been an offside or a double kiss off Luca Digne because it's not been given as a corner.
Yeah, don't forget we have VAR in operation, so we'll have to keep an eye on an ear on what's going on this afternoon. We've had a few already in that early game, haven't we? I have to say, it was confusing me even more.
Yeah,
I was watching it.
Yeah, Raheem Sterling's sort of the tip of his shoulder was offside for one goal.
He's got 5 goals, hasn't he, today?
But on another day he might have done. But then I suppose Aguero's penalty wouldn't have been retaken without VAR, so it sort of balances itself out. But yeah, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to celebrating a goal, then looking up to a screen to see if it's been allowed. Here come Palace, though.
Yeah, they have the ball on the edge of the Everton box. It just won't drop there for Andros Townsend. He's trying to get it onto his left foot and then just crowded out. Palace, Milivojevic is in there, and MacArthur does well to keep the ball there for Palace. Andros Townsend has to come in off that right hand side to actually get on the ball, and he's actually bundled over there. Bit of a silly foul to concede by Digne, and Everton are going to have to do a little bit of defending for almost the first time.
Yeah, I mean, that's clumsy from Digne. Townsend's going nowhere. He's actually going away from goal, and Digne just sort of treads on his heels ever so slightly, and that gives Palace a chance to get a free kick. And now it's Milivojevic standing over it.
Yeah, he is. He's going to play this in right-footed. Good chance here for Palace. We're almost at the midway point of the first half. In comes that free kick on the breeze. It goes, and easily headed away by Gomez. But it's going to break out for Meyer on this left-hand side. Down to Kelly, who stayed forward from the original free kick. It's belted against Gomez. Out of play. Palace have the throw-in over on the far side. Saying that Andre Gomez was a little bit of a coup for Everton. So they've brought in other players as well, though. That could be an exciting season for Everton. But they did that under Ronald Koeman as well, and it all went a bit flat for them. So we'll have to wait and see. It's a throw-in here to Palace. Van Aanholt hurls it in. A little bit of jostling and holding going on in the box there. Benteke, bit of 6 of one and half a dozen, but Everton managed to come away with it. It's a free kick. Referee John Moss gives Everton the foul, and Paul's going to take you through to half time.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. Yeah, it's Everton will be very glad to see that free kick. Actually just gives them a moment of respite after the first time that Palace really put any kind of pressure on them. A bit of a clumsy one there from Milivojevic. He's always a good candidate for a yellow card, isn't he? Just goes into the back of Calvert-Lewin. Doesn't do too much really, in all fairness, but enough to give the free kick. Ball now back at the edge of his own penalty area. Everton more than twice as many passes as Palace, and they're a lot more accurate as well. 82 to 66% pass accuracy off 60 odd passes is pretty disappointing from Palace, really, isn't it?
Yeah, they've had a poor start, haven't they? And just wonder whether they are going to struggle again. We thought maybe they could kick on after last season, but I think they've had a terrible transfer window, haven't they?
They've not had a good transfer window, and certainly 2 seasons ago they were the worst side in the league in terms of wages and expenditure to where they finished in the league. They weren't quite as bad last year, but again it was a relegation battle for most of the season, and there are expectations here. Of course, the owners at Palace have put the money in. There's talk of them trying to redevelop the stadium and to get a new training ground and all these things, but they've got to be a solid Premier League outfit for all that to come about. And in the meantime, Everton are trying to put a bit more pressure on them again. Richarlison has won his side a throw on the right hand side. It's inside the Crystal Palace half. Still quite a long way away from the penalty area though. Bit of pressure there, but Everton just about hold on to the ball there with Gomez. He then goes across now. Here's Luca Digne on the left hand side. He's got Bernard up with him, but he goes forward to Gomez, who carried on his run. He breaks into the box as well, but he's been well marshalled there by Martin Kelly, who puts that ball out for a throw to Everton on the left hand side. Still Everton looking much the stronger here so far, I would say.
Yeah, I think Marco Silva will be pleased when you think there are quite a few of his new signings actually missing, aren't there, today, and a couple on the bench as well, but I think he'll be pleased with the way the 11 have started so far.
Absolutely, yes. Lossell, of course, signed from Huddersfield in the summer as a very good backup keeper. Whether or not he's planning on sort of competing with Pickford, still imagine that Pickford will probably get the nod most of the time as a long ball goes towards Gaeta. Now a comfortable save there for the Palace keeper, who certainly has become the first choice now. Hennessy, of course, having a couple of off-field issues last year, but he's not been able to get back into the side, has he?
No, he's stuck with Gaeta, hasn't he, Roy Hodgson? Another loose pass there from Palace, and it's just a bit easy for Everton at the back so far. They're not threatening at all.
Yeah, it's almost as though Palace is having a pre-season game or something. They're still sort of trying to find their feet, where they need to be going and where they need to set up, and it's all been a little bit chaotic really in terms of trying to get forward and actually put pressure on Everton, whereas Everton certainly seem to have started the better. But having said that, they haven't put that much pressure on the Palace keeper yet either. He's only had a couple of saves to make, as the long ball goes down the right hand side a little bit too high for Coleman. Then he tried to head it back into play, but he was already out when he did so.
Yeah, just looking at Morgan Schneidlin there, looked like he was out the door, didn't it, Everton? But was it Turkey he was going to go to? I think he was in talks with a couple of Turkish clubs. That's never materialised. I admit a little bit. I don't think he would have been in the 11 though had Delph been fit. I think. No,
that's true. If the Delph had been fit, and also Tom Davies, a young Everton player, he's one who's probably looking to get away from that young player bracket and actually start becoming a regular in the Everton side as well. And he signed a new deal in the last season or so. So there's a bit of competition for that defensive midfield role. But Schneidlin getting the start today. Coleman now putting the ball out of play as Palace looking to at least get into the Everton half, which would actually be a bit of an achievement for them so far. 26 minutes gone at Selhurst Park. It is 0-0. It's 0-0 everywhere else in the 3 o'clock Premier League kickoffs. In case you didn't hear, West Ham getting thumped 5-0 at home against Manchester City in the early kickoff. Long ball now going into the Everton penalty area. Easy catch there for Jordan Pickford. And Michael Keane now getting the ball off his goalkeeper just to bring it forward. Pings a long ball now over the top, looking for the run of Calvert-Lewin. It's going to reach Calvert-Lewin as well, but Kelly's across and puts a good challenge in, because it looked as though Calvert-Lewin had beaten Scott down there.
I think the wind helped Calvert-Lewin there, didn't
Slowed it down, yeah.
It held it up in the wind, and he managed to get a good first touch on it. But fair play to Kelly, he's defended pretty well so far today.
He has, as a free kick now goes Palace's way. So this will be an opportunity for Roy Hodgson's men to just try and keep the ball momentarily, whether or not they want to send it long. I mean, Benteke's hardly had a touch. Townsend, we only really mentioned him when he won his side that free kick. He's hardly had a touch himself. Milivojevic now standing over it, and he's frustrated about something. I don't know if it was whether the referee was telling him off or whether or not the ball was in the wrong place, but it's a decent free kick now. He finds Benteke in the box. He's got his back to goal, trying to turn now. Benteke, he does turn. He does fire a attempt at a shot in as well, but he was always marked there by Yerry Mina, and the ball is cleared away. It's loose in midfield now, and Gomez fires a huge ball over towards the left-hand side. Bernard is onside. He's got a bit of space as well, but he's going to need some support here, the little Brazilian. He breaks into the box, does Bernard, back onto his left foot for a cutback for Luca Dean that completely misunderstood that, and I'm not even sure if he would have made that anyway. It wasn't a good ball from Bernard.
I think he should have had a shot, shouldn't he, on his right foot. It was probably worth a dig from there. He was inside the box. Dina's got forward well in this first half so far. Great ball over the top though, looking for Bernard. They look to have plenty of options on the counter-attack, don't they, Everton? They try and keep it wide and get the wingers and full-backs involved, and just a bit of miscommunication there. But at least Benteke at the other end there showed a bit of strength inside the penalty area. But we've had nearly half an hour, and Crystal Palace haven't even had an effort on goal.
They haven't. No, I mean, Everton haven't had too many, but their build-up is much more promising, isn't it? There's certainly an intent from the Toffees to actually get forward. Palace are struggling to even do that, but there's a bit of a mistake now after an attempted clearance deflects into the path of Benteke. He then rolls it to Meyer. Meyer breaking into the box. He tries a left-footed effort, which is charged down. The ball stays with Max Meyer, left-hand side of the box. He then flicks it past Coleman, gets it back from Benteke. Meyer breaking in towards the goal line there. Couldn't quite keep it in play. He's appealing everything there. I'm not sure if he wants a corner or a penalty, but I don't think he's going to get either.
No, better from Palace though, wasn't it? They worked that pretty well. Meyer did well on that left-hand side. Little flick from Jordan Ayew as well, just running out of room there. I don't think there's anything in that. I think it did look like it came off him.
It might have done. I mean, whether or not it's just grazed the arm of Coleman as it's broken into the box, I'm not even sure if Meyer was appealing that. I think he was just saying that the final touch came off Coleman, and perhaps it should have been given as a corner kick.
Still Palace 0, Everton 0. Really poor half an hour from Palace so far, but they are showing one or two signs of life, beginning to pick out a few more passes. But it is Everton looking more of a threat. Lovely counter-attacking move. Bernard, just a miscommunication with Digne down the left-hand side. Couldn't pick him out inside the penalty area. And at the other end, Benteke showing some good strength, but they just can't get a shot away at Jordan Pickford so far. And if you're a Palace fan watching on from this, if you thought it might be another season of struggle, then this first half might be showing that is going to be the case. But still plenty of time to go in this match. It is Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0.
Is still goals. We have got our first goal in the 3 o'clock kickoff, so it's an own goal from Abdoulaye Doucouré, putting Brighton 1-0 up away at Watford. So that's the first goal in the 3 o'clock kickoff. As Everton looking to go on the attack again down the left hand side. Nice bit of skill there from Bernard, having to roll the ball back. And in the end it goes wide after Calvert-Lewin tried to glance that towards goal, but that was very close to us seeing our first goal of the afternoon. Schneidlin in attacking position, rolled it to Digne. His shot gets a deflection, a bit of pinball there in the box before the strike coming in from Coleman, and initially sort of blocked by Gaeta before he punches it away.
Yeah, they're looking more likely still, aren't they, Paul? We've been saying all afternoon, Everton are carrying the threat, and I think Marco Silva would be disappointed if they're not a goal up at half-time here, if that proves to be the case. Actually, maybe we should have done better with that shot again on the
I think so, yeah. I think that Marco Silva would be frustrated if his side went in 0-0, because he would expect that Roy Hodgson will give his players a bit of a rocket at half-time, because this isn't good enough from any home side in the Premier League. Palace have got to have a bit more about them as they try and get into this game.
Doucouré with an own goal, by the way, has put Brighton in front. Were you talking about that?
Yeah, we mentioned that is our first 3 o'clock goal this afternoon, and we're hoping there's going to be quite a few more, because certainly the Friday night game and the early kickoff today certainly suggested it's going to be a goal-scoring season. Of course, we saw 5 in the game last night and 5 in the early games today. But at the moment here at Selhurst Park, we're struggling to get any kind of decent efforts on goal. Richarlison now brought down by Milivojevic. His foul count is adding up already, and I think referee John Motts is just telling Andre Gomez where he wants that free kick to be taken from. Just see from this replay, it was actually MacArthur that made the initial challenge.
Brought it back, hasn't he? Yeah, he's brought it back, hasn't he, for the first one?
I think he might. As I say, I think it may have been literally a second of advantage there before we realised there was another foul coming in. Everton haven't taken a long free kick though. They just kept the ball on the halfway line. Here is Morgan Schneidlin now under a bit of pressure, having to go back with it towards Michael Keane. Bit of a strong challenge there as well from AU. But no free kick. Yerry Mina now moving the ball forward here for Everton. He's got a couple of options. Again, just chooses the short one towards Andre Gomez. He goes out towards the right-hand side now for Schneidlin, who finds Coleman. First touch from Coleman, flicks it to Richarlison, gets it back. There's Coleman breaking into the box. His cross off the back of Scott Dan, still kept alive though by Coleman. Ball now played back. Richarlison's cross coming in. That's also charged down. And if we're going to find any credit for Palace in this first half, we've got to say that most of the time they are actually defending quite well around the edge of their own box.
They are. We've had our first blast at a player inside the box and an appeal for a penalty though there, haven't we? That was the first of many this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
But nothing doing there. It's sort of a half-hearted one. We saw plenty of that in the Champions League, didn't we, last season?
Yes, absolutely. Just fire that ball at anyone at all, and hope that if it hits an arm, the referee will just give that decision. I must admit that the new handball rules, I'm not sure if they've clarified things at all. No. They've just made things a little bit more complicated in terms of how a handball can still be given, and I dare say that will confuse the officials on more than one occasion as well as the season wears on. 33 minutes gone at Selhurst Park. It is still 0-0, and not too many opportunities for that scoreline to change so far. Long free kick now from Palace. Ball played up towards AUS. Nice bit of control. Spin and turn to try and get that ball to Townsend. Townsend at the edge of the area looking for Benteke. It nearly found Benteke after a deflection, but Everton now can bring the ball out. That's a really good challenge though initially to try and keep the ball alive for Palace. It does eventually break to an Everton man, but the ball over towards Bernard on the left hand side was overhit. Although he's applauding that one. The intention was good, but the actual execution wasn't great. Out for a throw. And you can see Marco Silva full of thought there on the touchline.
Yeah, not a happy hunting ground for him. Is it relegated with Hull on this ground, wasn't he?
He had a nightmare first half in that game, I seem to remember. Yeah.
Sam Allardyce was in charge of Palace, wasn't he? Kept them up. But, it's going to be a tough job for Roy Hodgson looking at this. I know it's only 34 minutes, but he's got a job on his hands. It just doesn't seem to have any firepower, does he?
No, there just doesn't seem to be that, as you said, that engine in midfield. There's a bit of a strong challenge there from Schneidlin on AU. He was already looking with his arms up in the air at the referee even before he had a chance to hit the deck. He was already complaining that it should be given as a free kick, and an opportunity now for Palace. Just whether or not they want to try and float this one straight towards the penalty area. Everton playing quite a high offside line as that ball is aimed at the edge of the box. It's headed away and then volleyed away towards the halfway line. Milivojevic plays it towards the box. Mina now with the header away. Richarlison picks up the loose ball and then he plays it towards Coleman on the right hand side. Coleman up to Calvert-Lewin. Bit of a heavy touch from him. He sort of forgot about the ball as he moved forward, but the final touch was off MacArthur. So it will still be an Everton throw inside Palace territory. And we've not seen enough of Sigurdsson in this first half, I don't think.
No, he's had that really good early chance, didn't he? But his delivery from the set piece has been pretty good. I think we're having a word here with some sort of discussion with the maybe the linesman or the fourth official.
That should be released as a box set in by the end of the season. Just all the different things that the referees say to each other, because sometimes I think that we don't realise just how much they argue actually amongst themselves in terms of what they should be doing. There was one documentary I saw years ago where they did that, but they did that with Spanish referees, and it's incredible how much they actually disagree with each other as they're giving the decisions on the field. But we're hoping that VAR is going to make it easier. Probably make things a little bit more complicated in the short term, but going forward should get those black and white decisions which were incorrect in the past. They should hopefully get most of them right, as Everton are certainly doing it right in terms of the possession they've got. They just need to be a little bit more expansive with it, as the long ball is headed away, but kept alive here by Everton. Yerry Mina now going all the way back towards goalkeeper Pickford. And so looking at the Everton bench this afternoon, it's Kian, Tosson, Walcott, Davis, Holgate, Kababin and goalkeeper Lossell, whereas Palace have Cahill, Wickham, Zaha, Camarasa, McCarthy, Kouyaté and goalkeeper Hennessy on their bench, of course. So Wickham are very much
injury.
Yeah, he came back and scored in a friendly, I seem to remember, last season, but then he got injured towards the end of last season as well, so he's really hoping to have a good start this time around.
Yeah, they might need him looking at this from Palace so far.
Well, the last 5 minutes possession stat shows Everton 83% to Palace's 17, and at any time in any Premier League game, if you're at home, you should never have so little of the ball. Palace really are. They're almost playing like a side who are down to 10 men just trying to defend a 0-0.
Well, they were so bad at home last season, weren't they? And they don't look like they're going to get any better.
No, it's just
seems worrying, isn't it?
More of the same in terms of how they're just struggling to dominate the game. Andre Gomez now with the ball over the top. Luca Dean, it looks like he is onside. He looks like he's got the better of Joel Ward as well. Fires across into the box, which is headed away by Van Aanholt. He needed to get that header as well, because there were Everton players queuing up. But then Andre Gomez wins the ball back for Everton. There's a strike from Sigurdsson. He's appealing that one as well, saying there might have been a handball. Attempted clearance there from Meyer. In fact, a pass that does reach Benteke. Benteke moving forward now down the left-hand side, gets past Keane. Benteke can't quite get the shot away, but the loose ball does end up with Andros Townsend. He's having to go back a little bit towards Van Aanholt. It's down the left-hand side. Van Aanholt to Meyer. Meyer was brought down at the edge of the box. Clean challenge, says the referee. And then there was not so much cleaner challenge from Meyer, trying to win the ball back off Richarlison, and that's going to be a yellow card for the German.
Yeah, I think that was inevitable, really. It was going to be a yellow card, cynical challenge from Meyer. I think he was annoyed he'd slipped over, and Richarlison just holds him back. A little bit of theatrics from Richarlison there, but nevertheless.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the way Richarlison hits the deck is not equivalent to the way he was held onto there, but
it was a yellow. Yeah.
It was a yellow. It was an intent to stop the man getting away. I think Richarlison was just doing that to make sure that the decision went his way. And Everton have taken the free kick short this time. And it's just Yerry Mina and Michael Keane exchanging a couple of passes, still deep inside their own half. About 7 minutes to go until half time. We'll probably get a standard minute of injury time. Just the one goal so far in the Premier League. 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon, with Brighton leading away at Watford. All other games are goalless. As Keane now sends a long ball over the top, looking for Calvert-Lewin. Again, it seems to just stop in the air a little bit, but Dan does win the header. Under a bit of pressure there, Scott Dan having to just clear that ball anywhere. It does get a fair bit of distance on it, though, towards the halfway line before a header out from Michael Keane, as it will be a throw to Palace. Opportunity now for Roy Hodgson's men to try and get forward, as we see Benteke there. Just been marshalled there by Michael Keane, probably bordering on a free kick, in fact, but I think the referee just decided to leave it as a throw.
Yeah, Roy Hodgson thought it was a free kick, and he's sort of stroking his chin and pondering something. He's got quite a lot to think about if they're going at half time here, not even having a shot. They've had a couple of blocked efforts, but they've not even tested Jordan Pickford at all yet.
No, they haven't. This isn't the sort of first half that the Palace faithful would have been expecting on opening day. It is a throw to Palace down the left-hand side now, with Patrick Van Aanholt sending it towards Jordan Ayew. It just gets away from him, though, swept away now by Luca Dean towards the halfway line. That's really well held up. But then there's a strong challenge coming in after the initial challenge from Schneidlin to win the ball for his side, and after all of that, the referee decided that it is going to be a free kick to Palace.
He's got a knock Andre Gomez there, hasn't he? He just sort of hobbled out of that challenge. It was a tough one with McCarthy.
Yeah, it was Sigurdsson, in fact, back a little bit deeper this time. We just got a bit tangled with Townsend, and that's what referee John Moss didn't like. So it is going to be a free kick to Palace, which they've already taken. Ball goes over towards Benteke. May still break in for Meyer. Meyer breaks in and gets a strike. It is just over the bar. It might have got a deflection on the way as well. I think it did. It is going to be a corner kick to Crystal Palace. So after all that possession and all that praise for Everton and all that criticism for Palace, if that shot was just a bit better from Maya, they could have been 1-0 up now.
Yeah, 2 against 1 against Seamus Coleman on the back post there, weren't they? Palace fell asleep a little bit, the Everton defenders, and as Maya down the left-hand side onto his right foot. It's a good chance, isn't it?
It's a good block there from Coleman as well.
Coleman, though, goes over the top of the crossbar.
Even with that deflection, it could have still gone on target, but it has been given as a corner kick after that deflection, which went just over. Corner coming in from the right-hand side, aimed at that back post. It's a good corner as well. Does get a touch off an Everton man last, and it'll be a corner kick from the left-hand side.
It's good defending, isn't it, on the far post as that header comes in. Just trying to see who it is. Is it Calvert-Lewin on the back post here? He just gets it away. It is, just sort of flicks it off, glances it behind for a corner. But this is better from Palace.
It's still something that Seamus Coleman, well, I'm not sure if it's referee unhappy with Jordan Pickford and he's asking Coleman to be there as the captain, or if there was an issue there with what the goalkeeper's doing at set pieces, but whatever it was, John Moss has now had a word with Pickford, who trots back towards his 6-yard box. Milivojevic now just standing over the ball. He's got a very trusty right foot, of course. In-swinger coming in from that left-hand side. There's a lot of activity just at the edge of the 6-yard box. Gets a lot of height on it as well. He's aiming at Scott Dan. And Dan heads that one into the back of an Everton player. It's the third corner kick in a row for Crystal Palace.
Well, there's another chance, isn't it? Again, maybe this time just hits the Everton man and goes over the top. And I think it's Schneidlin who it hits there. But Dan gets round the back. It just comes off the back of it. It might be Calvert-Lewin again, actually, on the back post.
No, you were right. First time, it is Schneidlin. Yeah, no, all he's doing is just getting his body in the way. He didn't know too much about that block. But here comes a corner kick from the right-hand side this time. Gets a header, but this time it was a Palace man that got the final touch, so it is going to be a goal kick.
Still Palace 0, Everton 0, but finally we've had an effort at the Everton goal from Crystal Palace, and it was a good chance as well. Ball drifted over to the left-hand side. Seamus Coleman was left 2 against 1 at the back post. It came to Max Meyer, got it onto his right foot, hit a decent shot, but an excellent block from Coleman, deflected it over the bar. A couple of quick resulting corners from Palace threatening, and the second one in particular to the back post. Scott Dan rising high, getting his header on target, but it hit the back of Morgan Schneidlin and went over the top of the crossbar. And Palace have finally stirred themselves, but the whistle might beat them towards half-time. It is Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0.
Yeah, goalless at Selhurst Park, and Palace under a bit of pressure inside their own half as the ball goes up towards Benteke, headed away by Luca Dean. Does it stay in play? Bernard couldn't keep it in place, so it is going to be a throw to Palace now down their right-hand side, picked up by Joel Ward. About 2 minutes plus injury time to go in this first half. It's certainly not going to be a memorable first half unless we see something amazing now in these final few moments, but it's been a tough half to watch at times. Everton looking better on the ball but not able to get anything in the final third, and Palace just trying to absorb that and not really able to offer too much themselves, but they have just improved in the last few minutes, as John mentioned. We're looking to try and perhaps get one more decent attack or one more spell of set pieces before half time as they win the ball back inside Everton territory. Benteke going forward, brought down, but the referee said it was a fair challenge. The ball gets back to Benteke. He then feeds it into Maya, who's going through the middle this time rather than from the right, from the left-hand side. Ball only partially cleared. It ends up with MacArthur. Goes to Townsend now. Tries a crossfield ball. I think I'm not sure if that was a pass to try and pick out Benteke, which was just too long, or if it was a pass that was supposed to pick out Van Aanholt, but it just got it completely wrong.
Something to work on for Roy Hodgson at half time here, isn't it? A little bit better from Palace generally. It's maybe causing more of a goal threat, but certainly no clear-cut chance for them really. Although Maya did get that onto his right foot, it was a good block from Seamus Coleman, but still yet to sort of carve open the Everton defence, have they?
No, they haven't, and we've got a bit of a break in play now, which might just extend the last couple of moments of our first half here as Andre Gomez goes down, and this looks pretty bad because they're already telling one of the Everton players to start warming up. Was that Holgate we saw there? Was that Kian, do you think?
I think it might have been Holgate, possibly. Andre Gomez, it was that challenge from MacArthur earlier, wasn't it? He came off worse, he sort of hobbled out of it, and it must have maybe not managed. Is it? Let's see who's coming on there. I think it is Mason Holgate, isn't it? Oh no, it is Gabamian, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going to make his debut, one of these summer signings. And well, this is a blow for Everton, isn't it?
Certainly
for Andre Gomez, it's not a serious one, but he's going to hobble out just before half time. They're not even going to wait and see him through to half time. It's obviously worse than they thought.
Yeah, it looks like it's that bad that even though, as I say, we've got maybe a minute and a half to go of injury time, but that's enough here for Marco Silva to decide that whatever his physios told him, that Andre Gomez won't be able to continue. Let's hope it's nothing too serious. We already know from the first few days of the season now that Sane is going to be out for about 6 months. Still not entirely sure how bad Alisson's calf injury is after he had to go off yesterday. I'm sure that was a bit. You could actually see that in that game yesterday, where Adrian was sort of looking around for his gloves. He said, "I don't think he was expecting to get on at Anfield in his very first game at Liverpool." But that's the role of the sub keeper. You might have 2 years of doing nothing, and you might be needed straight away as soon as you sign. But the good news, I suppose, is that Gomez is walking up. He is hobbling slightly, but doesn't seem to be in too much pain. And coming on in his place now, as you mentioned, is the young Gabarin.
Yeah, Jean-Philippe Gabarin, and making his Everton debut. We just wonder whether it will be like for like. We'll just have to see how Everton do line up after that change. But nevertheless, a bit of a delay. We've got 2 minutes of stoppage time. We're into the second already, so we'll probably have another minute or so added on after the delay for the Gomez injury. It's half time at the Vitality Stadium, by the way. Bournemouth 0, Sheffield United 0. So good showing there from the newly promoted side early on as Pickford clears it downfield.
He does, yeah, of course. Lys Mousset coming back to Bournemouth after. I'm interested to see whether or not he has an appearance for Sheffield United. They've spent quite a bit of money on him. I'm amazed that Bournemouth actually made a couple of £1 million profit on Mousset, because he did very little at the Vitality. But here comes Andre Ayew now, trying to get a bit of life into Palace in these final seconds of the first half. It was a decent run. He got all the way to the edge of the box, then he had to backtrack a little bit, but Palace have kept the ball alive. And here is Van Aanholt now trying to get a cross in. Oh, it's just behind Benteke. He might have got a nick off a defender as that ball was coming in, but Benteke was pretty much unmarked there if that cross had found him. But it's cleared away. Throw on to Palace now, just inside the Everton half.
Well, they're on top, Palace, aren't they? Just for the first time in the game, just towards the end of the half. That was it was actually a decent ball into the box, but unfortunately for Palace, the two strikers had both gone into the near post and 6-yard area, so no problems for the Everton defence. Yeah,
Yerry Mina there just taking that shoulder-to-shoulder rule a little bit too literally. They sort of shoved his man a little bit as he was putting the ball out. But now we're seeing that challenge, as you mentioned, as Andre Gomez would have felt that one as it came in, and he was hobbling straight after that, wasn't he?
Yes, could be one of them, couldn't it? Could be the old metatarsal with that one. Looked like the bottom of the foot, didn't it, that it caught him on, and he certainly felt it.
Well, we've gone over the 2 minutes allocated, but I think we're going to get another 30 seconds until referee John Moss decides that's enough for this first half. There are, in fact, a couple of games have gone to half-time already, but there's a couple of games still in injury time in the Premier League, as the ball is now on the left-hand side. Look at Dean trying to find Bernard. His pass is blocked. Ball now cleared towards the halfway line. Chasing that one down was Benteke. He couldn't quite get on the end of it. Look at Dean, does he keep it in play? He doesn't keep it in play. He actually puts it out for a Palace throw. Whether or not we even get time to see the Palace throw is another matter, because John Moss has in fact called time on this first half. It is Palace.
Right, so it's half time. It is 0-0 between Everton and Crystal Palace. We're going to look at the stats, then we're going to look at every other score in the English leagues. If you are going to lead the stream now, because it's half time, make sure to come back in 15 minutes for the second half, because I'll be doing commentary then. We have 25 people in here, so I'm sure like 10 of you will probably leave at least, so yeah, if you could come back in like 15 minutes, that'd be great. We'll make that big. Are we allowed to put scores from other games in the chat? Yes. It's just the rules are no self-promoting, no putting like links to like stuff that I don't want. The only links I allow is like links to my like social media and stuff. But anyway, it's 0-0 in between Bournemouth and Sheffield United. Actually, no, let's go through the stats first, then we'll do that. So, possession is, well, 69% possession to Everton, 31% to Crystal Palace. 6 shots for Everton, 3 for Crystal Palace, 1 of them being on target for Everton. And then 3 corners for Crystal Palace, 2 for Everton. And then fouls don't really matter. So it looks like Everton the better side. We're now going to go through every other Premier League and EFL score. So 0-0 between Bournemouth and Sheffield United, 0-0 between Burnley and Southampton, 0-0 obviously between Crystal Palace and Everton. Brighton 1-0 up against Watford, Doucouré scoring an own goal, who's linked with Everton, so if he did sign for Everton that wouldn't have happened, but it's 1-0 to Brighton at the moment. So they're at the moment going third in the league. Scottish Premiership, if you're interested, St Johnstone 2-0 against Livingston. That game's about to end. Hamilton are winning 1-0 against Kilmarnock, and it's 0-0 between Hearts and Ross County. In the Championship, Birmingham drawing 0-0 to Bristol City. Cardiff drawing 0-0 to Luton. Charlton drawing 1-0 to Stoke. Derby drawing 0-0 to Swansea. Fulham winning 1-0 against Blackburn. Hull 2-0 up against Reading. Middlesbrough drawing 0-0 to Brentford. Preston 2-0 up against Wigan. QPR 0-0 against Huddersfield. Sheffield Wednesday 1-0 up against Barnsley. And West Brom 0-0 against... Sheffield Wednesday 1-0 against Barnsley. I think I said that, I'm not too sure. And West Brom 0-0 against Millwall. In League One, it's 0-0 between Bolton and Coventry, 0-0 between Bristol Rovers and Wycombe, 1-0 to Wimbledon against Fleetwood, 2-1 to Burton against Gillingham, 1-0 to Ipswich against Sunderland, 0-0 with MK Dons and Shrewsbury, Oxford winning 1-0 against Peterborough, Portsmouth winning 1-0 against Tranmere, Rochdale drawing 0-0 with Doncaster, Lincoln 1-0 up against Rotherham, and Blackpool 3-0 up against Southend. Then in League 2 it finished 1-0 between Grimsby and Bradford. Cambridge drawing 0-0 to Newport. Cheltenham drawing 0-0 to Scunthorpe. Crawley winning 1-0 against Salford. Macclesfield winning 1-0 against Leyton Orient. Morecambe winning 2-1 against Mansfield. Crewe winning 2-1 against Oldham. Plymouth drawing 0-0 with Colchester. Port Vale drawing 1-0 with Northampton. Stevenage drawing 0-0 against Exeter. Swindon drawing 0-0 against Carlisle, and Forest Green are winning 1-0 against Walsall. And in the non-league we have some scores here. Not going to read them all out, but you'll be able to see them if you're interested. Notts County v Barnet's at 5:20 today. Not going to do commentary for that. I'm doing commentary for Tottenham v Villa once this game ends. There's some games here in the other non-league thing, but we won't worry about that. We'll worry about Premier League, Championship and League 1 and League 2. So if we look at the current Premier League table, Brighton got to 3rd, Bournemouth go 4th, Burnley 5th, Crystal Palace 6th, Everton 7th, Sheffield United 8th, Southampton 9th, and then Watford will go down to 18th as it stands. So that's what the table's looking like currently. Go to the Championship table. Sheffield Wednesday winning the league at the moment. Leeds in 2nd, and then loads of teams that won last week are drawing or winning at the moment. And they have 4 points. And Hull and Preston, who lost last week, are winning, so they go up. Barnsley, who won last week, are losing. Same with Wigan at the moment. Then the bottom of the table there, at the moment, Reading and Blackburn. losing both of their games. Go to League One next. Blackpool winning the league, Lincoln in second, Ipswich third. Those three teams only that have got a 100% record at the moment. A couple of teams on 4 points, and a few on 3, 1 on 2, and then 1 and 0. Not 1 on 0. A few on 0, and then minus 11 for Bolton, because they're at the moment drawing, and then Bury just aren't playing. Accrington, who aren't playing this week, are going to drop down the league most likely, but we'll see what happens. Then League 2, Forest Green at the moment the only team winning 2 out of 2, so they're top. Few teams on 4 points, and then 3 points for a couple teams. Loads of teams on 2 points, and then 1 for a couple teams. Then the only team that at the moment losing 2 out of 2 are Oldham. So those are the tables. We're going to go back to the Prem now and focus on the game we're doing live commentary on. We've got about 10 minutes till the second half begins. Welcome to the show, Macaulay Cole. Let me just refresh. We still got 20 people in there, which is surprising to see that only like 5 people have left for half time. Let's see the sub count. We are on 1,398, so if you haven't subscribed, we are 2 subs away from 1,400 subs, so if you can help me hit that, that would be great. So if there's 2 people on the stream that aren't subscribed and want to see more live commentaries, we're going to have a look at scores and fixtures in the Premier League. We could potentially do Crystal Palace v Sheffield United next week. Everton are playing Watford next week, but Southampton are playing at that time. No, Southampton and Liverpool are playing at the time, so probably not. So we could do Crystal Palace Sheffield United next Sunday. Everton v Aston Villa Friday 23rd of August could be a fixture we do. So we may have a couple Everton Crystal Palace games coming up. Josh Taylor says he's got to go. Well, thanks for watching the first half. Hopefully see you soon. Crystal Palace v Man U, so we could do another Crystal Palace one there. Everton are playing on that Friday, so we could do loads of Crystal Palace and Everton games. Then this Saturday, no, not this Saturday, the Saturday I'm on now here, Everton are playing on the next day, I think. Crystal Palace playing Aston Villa. There's other like teams like Chelsea, Sheffield United may do that. Are you streaming the Leeds Salford match on Tuesday? I'm going to try and find a commentary for it. I'm most likely going to do a stream for that though. Wait, who are Crystal Palace playing on this weekend? No, who are Everton playing, sorry, on this weekend? Crystal Palace playing Villa. Don't see Everton anywhere unless I missed them on here. Oh no, they're playing Wolves. Could do that game actually, but it is on my birthday, so I probably won't do these 2 games. So we have quite a lot of Everton and Crystal Palace streams coming up. Crystal Palace Tottenham, 14th of September, could potentially do that. Although I might do Man U Leicester instead, but we'll have to wait and see. Everton v Bournemouth could potentially do that. Crystal Palace playing Wolves here. May do Man City Watford that day though, so probably not there. Everton playing Sheffield United, so probably not that week. This week, 28th of September, Crystal Palace v Norwich probably won't do because Chelsea and Tottenham are playing at that time. Everton v Man City, that's a game that I'm probably going to do. So we have loads of Everton games and Crystal Palace games that we're going to be doing over the next month or two. David Andrews says, I'm happy Forest fan, we mugged a point from Leeds. I will sleep well tonight. Yeah, that was a decent result. A draw at Leeds. Their goal also was apparently offside, so maybe you could have won, but apparently they should have had a penalty or two given to them. But we have about 4 minutes until the second half begins. The lineups for Tottenham v Aston Villa come out in 29 minutes. I'll show them in the stream once I start that. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and do from now on, when there's Premier League and Championship games on at the same weekend, I'm going to do one Championship game and then the rest I'll do Premier League. So next week I'm going to do a Championship game. Let's go on all fixtures and we'll decide which Championship game I'll do. So I want to like change it. So we've obviously got Tuesday, we're going to be doing Leeds Salford maybe. Monday, don't think I'm going to do a stream. I may do a video on Monday, not sure what yet. Wednesday, we've got the Super Cup. I'm not sure if I'll do that or not, to be honest, because it's UEFA. But we'll decide that day. The Wednesday, we'll probably do a video. No, that's a Thursday, never mind. Then Friday, Huddersfield Fulham, that's the Championship I'm going to do, game I'm going to do. If you had to support a team in League 2, what would it be? Let's have a look at League 2 games. No, League 2 teams. Actually, it'll be easier if I go on all teams and then we go on League 2. So I have a choice of all these teams. I mean, Salford's local to Man City. It's in Manchester, so I guess them. But they are new to the EFL as well. It's their first season, so probably Salford, who Leeds are playing on Tuesday. So, but I did do an Exeter career mode on FIFA 17. I quite enjoyed that. Quite like some of the players there. Same with Forest Green. I did a Forest Green career mode on FIFA 18. Quite liked some of their players. So probably Salford. Salford for you. They're a team on the up, yeah. And it's like in Manchester as well. And I support Man City, so I guess that makes most sense. But second half should be starting any second now. It's actually already started, so I'm going to put the commentary back on and then If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button for more live commentaries, and hope you guys enjoy the second half. We've got one shout out to do. Rob JM 1978, thank you for subbing 7 minutes ago. And so now we're going to put on the commentary. Enjoy the second half.
Keane, Mina and back for Schneiderlin, and now it's Jean-Philippe Gbamin in midfield. Gylfi Sigurdsson, Richarlison, Bernard and Calvert-Lewin. And we're just trying to have a look to see. There has been a slight change of formation with Gbamin coming in to the Everton side in this second half. Took of the shirt there from Milivojevic against Richarlison. The referee has spotted it. We've had 2 minutes of the second period, and Everton just moving the ball around the back. Slight concern, maybe they've not got a centre half in Everton in the window. They tried to get Kurt Zuma back, didn't they? They tried to get Smalling by all accounts. Rocco, they didn't get any of them.
They really wanted Kurt Zuma. Obviously, they've lost Jagielko, who's always going to leave on a free at the end of the season, anyway, but they probably are a little bit short in that centre back position now because of that. Yeah,
but Keane and Mina, I suppose we haven't really seen how good they are at the moment, because they've not really been tested too much so far. Here are Palace trying to knock it down the right hand flank, looking for Jordan Ayew, and it goes for a throw in to Everton down the right hand side. And we'll restart here while Everton with Luca Digne. And saying Marco Silva might be disappointed to go in 0-0. And certainly that first early chance from Gylfi Sigurdsson. Unbeaten in 9 meetings with Palace as well, so a good record with them. 1-4, drawn 5, and they've won 2 of their last 11 opening day fixtures, though, so they don't start particularly well, Everton. And Palace have never won on the opening day at home, so maybe 0-0 is about right.
That's just a continuation of Palace's poor home form, really, isn't it? They always struggle in their home games, and they do well away from home. It's been a theme for Palace over the years in the Premier League, but I always think that's a risky bit of form to rely on, because away from it is always going to be a bit more difficult, and if they start getting into a pattern where they're always losing their home games, that does put so much pressure on their away games then.
Almost had 4 minutes of the second half. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0. Patrick Van Aanholt is going to start with this throw-in, and it's out on the far side of the field, and throw-in again taken by Everton. Here's Gbamin, one of the new arrivals, wearing number 25. Everton in their away strip today, white shirts, dark blue shorts. Attacking the goal to the right in this second half. Not much happening in the second period so far. Ball down the left hand side, all a little bit scrappy as Keane tries to turn it back towards his goalkeeper. Manages to do so as well. Jordan Pickford clears it downfield. Here is Schneiderlin now for Everton. On to Luca Digne. Clips it down the left hand side, looking for Calvert-Lewin. Just wonder how long it might be before we see Zaha on one side and Moise Kean on the other. Can't be too long, can it?
Zaha's got to come on in this game. I mean, I'll be particularly the way that Palace are playing in this game so far. You'd think that they've got to try and do something to get forward. They are getting forward now with Ayew down the right hand side. They've got all the way to the edge of the area.
Yeah, now they're up towards the right corner of the box. Ayew does well actually there. A little spin and turn. Finds Andros Townsend. He's got to get in the game a bit more as well. On the right hand side, swings a cross in this time. Oh, it's over the head of Benteke. It actually pulled away from Michael Keane just for a moment. And the ball drifts away over to that left-hand side. But certainly Townsend, a peripheral figure so far. We had 5 minutes of the second period. That just drifts out of play, and it will be a throw-in to Everton over on the far side. Just the one goal in the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League so far came at Vicarage Road. Brighton lead by a goal to nil. It was an own goal as well from Doucouré. But it is the only goal so far, and talking to our colleagues covering the other services this afternoon, not a great deal going right in any of the matches so far.
No, it just seems to be like everybody's still on their holidays, doesn't it? It's been a a very long season last season. A few players involved in the African Cup of Nations and in the North American competitions as well. Of course, all the youth competitions that went on over the summer. So quite a few players are still trying to get back into some kind of form. But here come Everton now.
Bernard tees it up. Dina thought about the shot. He hesitated though. Comes back to Bernard onto that right foot, left corner of the area, back onto the left. Still going, clips it to the back post. Header goes up. Still maybe a chance for Dina. Turns it in. Oh, and it's off the line. Everton close to taking the lead, but Palace might come away with it. They're going to get a free kick there. It's going to be a yellow card as well for an Everton player. But really close there, Everton, to getting their noses in front. But again, Palace struggling to get that clear initially. Played in, just nodded down by Calvert-Lewin. Play back in. Sigurdsson with a little flick, and Patrick Van Aanholt is there to hook it away off the line.
Yeah, right place at the right time there for Van Aanholt as that's going towards goal. Gaeta was already beaten, but the Dutchman there gets across and puts that challenge in. So it is going to be just a free kick now to Palace. But Everton, after a bit of a slow start in this second half, they're just starting to see a bit more of the ball now.
They certainly are. It's going to be Gaeta who will restart. There was a trip there. Was there a yellow card for an Everton player? Not sure who got booked there. If there was, John Moss, the referee, this afternoon. Up it goes towards Benteke, who nods it into the path of Maya. Plays it into the area. A little bit unlucky there, just too far ahead of Andros Townsend. And Jordan Pickford have an embrace there as it's played down that left-hand flank. And it's going to be a goal kick just out of play. Goal kick to Everton. But Jordan Pickford's not had anything to do with it.
No, not really. I mean, there was that little spell at the end of the first half, wasn't there? But other than that, it's been a very, very quiet game for him, and Palace have got to do more to try and start playing like the home side. Here
at Everton with Seamus Coleman marauding down that right-hand side. Of course, his place under threat with the arrival of Sidibe from Monaco. Here's Richarlison, left-footed effort. That looked to be on target. Just hit a Palace player on the edge of the box. It's cleared to relative safety, and then there's a foul on Jordan Ayew there, and then punching the ground in frustration is Schneiderlin. They got given a free kick against him. He's going to get a yellow card for his reaction, and the Everton midfielder goes into the referee's notebook.
Yeah, John Moss not too interested in all the protests. He's just going to get his card out there. As we see, this ball is picked up by not too much from Schneiderlin really, but as you said, it's the descent more than anything that's going to get him the yellow card.
Early stages of the second half, Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0, but it's Everton on the front foot again at the start of this second period. Thought Palace might come out with a bit more fire in their belly after ending the first half reasonably on top, but it's Everton who've had the best chance. Ball to the back post, Calvert-Lewin nodded it down. It then came to Digne on the left side. He played it in low. Gylfi Sigurdsson just stabbed out his right foot, and it was cleared off the line by Patrick Van Aanholt with the goalkeeper Gaeta beaten. Andre Gomez, of course, injured at the end of that first half for Everton. He's not emerged, and so injury blow for them. It is still 0-0, but again a sluggish start from the home side.
Yeah, still a sluggish start from Palace as the ball is cleared away from the edge of the Everton penalty area, picked up now by Gbabin. It goes up towards the halfway line. There is going to be a free kick there in favour of Everton, and Milivojevic is going to get a yellow card in now. It wasn't a particularly bad foul, but John Moss just counting on his hand there the amount of fouls he's already had to give against Milivojevic this afternoon. So it's going to be a free kick now to Everton and a yellow card for the Palace captain. As I said, he's always a good bet for a yellow card, is Milivojevic.
You said it, didn't you, in the first half? He's a yellow card waiting to happen as such, but it's got a little bit niggly, hasn't it? A little bit scrappy. But Everton on top once again.
Yeah, they are, and opportunity now with this throw on after the free kick was initially headed out. It's level with the edge of the area. It's ball sent back now towards the halfway line. Yerry Mina's under a bit of pressure from Benteke, but he's able to go back towards goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. Pickford now with a long clearance up towards the halfway line. It's picked up by Digne on the left-hand side. And the ball goes out of play now for Everton. Another opportunity to try and get more pressure here on this Palace goal. They've gone back towards the halfway line though. Mina and Keane now exchanging passes. And it's over now, picked up with Gbabin on the right-hand side, brought down, and that's probably going to be a free kick. No, referee says play on.
Yeah, it's Benteke down the left-hand side. He's got Ayew's made a good run. Here's a chance for Palace up against Pickford, who makes the save. The first save he's had to make this afternoon. Real chance there for Jordan Ayew, and he's not been able to take it. And Townsend goes down on the edge of the box looking for a free kick. But Crystal Palace's best chance by a long, long way so far this afternoon, and that's the first time they've cut up from the Everton defence. Good play from Benteke actually, but they run from Ayew right through the heart of the Everton defence, and just tries to slide it under. Pickford thought he might have made able to go round him there.
Yeah, I just wonder if maybe the other way round would have been better for Palace. In an ideal world, maybe Ayew picks that ball up and sends it through to Benteke. Maybe he would have just acted a little bit more cool in front of goal. Because although Ayew is a goal scorer, perhaps it's an opportunity that he should have taken better, really. Especially when you consider how few chances Palace have had. But here they come again now with Benteke.
Yeah, Benteke up to the edge of the area on the right foot. Here's a chance for Maya. He's cleaning on goal here. Pickford saves it again, and it's behind for a corner. And suddenly, two chances in quick succession for Crystal Palace, and they should be 1-0 up. They should have taken at least one of them, and that should be Palace in the lead. But Pickford suddenly being involved in the match, and he's done his job.
He has, and a mistake there from Luca Dean, because he stepped out a couple of paces behind the rest of his defenders. So as a result of that, Maya was onside when he gets this pass, but the strike is well saved by Pickford. Although perhaps he shouldn't have had that chance. It's a strike pretty much straight at the keeper. So yeah, you have to dive out of the way, really, Pickford, for that one to beat him.
Has to go across the keeper there, doesn't he? He tried to hit him at the near post. In comes the corner, but it's held up in the wind there and easily headed away by Richarlison.
It really was. I mean, almost like it was in slow motion. Yeah. That corner whipped in and then just sort of froze in the air. But that just made it easier for Everton to clear it.
Yeah, Pickford suddenly called into action and making two big saves as far as Everton are concerned, and will give Palace some confidence anyway. They've managed to create a couple of chances that come from nowhere, really. They've been really struggling, haven't they, in the final third in the match so far.
They have. They really have been struggling, and the ball now goes out of play. It's going to be a throw as Pickford just trying to get some message out to his players. Perhaps he can see that Everton have just dropped off in the last few minutes.
Yeah, he's saying just a couple of minutes before those two Palace chances that he's not had much to do at all so far this afternoon. But now called upon the England goalkeeper. Coleman's looking for the free kick there for Benteke with a little shove. He's got it as well, felt the arms on him and has gone down. Everton getting on with it quickly. Benteke frustrated. It has been a little bit stop-start, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. It's not been. Well, I say the first half was hardly a revelation in terms of the pace of the game, but there was a bit more sort of fluidity about what Everton were doing, and now because Palace is seeing a bit more of the ball, they're starting to get into the game, and they're going forward again now.
Yeah, down the right-hand side it goes. It's with Andros Townsend onto that left foot. Oh, maybe he could have had a shot. They tried to play in a teammate Milivojevic. Suddenly Palace have got the tails up a little bit here. It's out on this right-hand side with Joel Ward, who joins the attack. We hardly saw the fullbacks getting forward at all for Palace in that first half, but suddenly they're both inside the Everton half, and Scott Dan steps in, and Palace keeping a bit of sustained pressure on the Everton back line. It's with Van Aanholt on this left-hand side near the corner of the area. Decent ball in as well. I thought Ayew could have thrown himself at that. He doesn't. Maybe just too far in front of him. And Everton maybe try and launch the counter-attack, and has the game sprung into life at last.
As a little bit in terms of Crystal Palace, yeah, we'd need to see a replay to see just how close Ayew was to that, whether or not he gave up on it or if it was just a bit too far for him to reach. But Everton now back on the attack themselves.
Yeah, Seamus Coleman has it down the right-hand side. Everybody back for Palace, and it goes towards the edge of the penalty area. Richarlison was looking for that little reverse pass from Gylfi Sigurdsson, and it's been blocked by Palace, out for a throw-in, but Marco Silva knows his side are in a game now. Palace have actually turned up for once.
They've looked the more likely to score in the last few minutes of Palace, a lot more likely to score, so all of a sudden Everton are under a bit more pressure, and despite Palace's poor home form, if they were to score first, the way this game has gone, you'd imagine that would be a long way towards winning the game.
Keane has it just inside the Palace half, swings it from right to left, looking for Luca Digne. Digne, though, on the stretch, can't keep it in, punches the turf in frustration, and we've had an hour. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Still, I think we've got Bournemouth who've just gone ahead in their game with Sheffield United in the Premier League, although it hasn't been confirmed as yet. We've got to do that, I think, this season in other matches.
Well, we've already had. I think Burnley actually scored this afternoon, but it was chalked off by Villa. We've had a couple of Championship goals going in the same way. It's a new feature, of course, now that these goals are going to get reviewed. But we can confirm that Bournemouth, as it stands, have taken the lead against Sheffield United. And we're just waiting on confirmation of the goal scorer there. But Sheffield United, of course, making a few signings, but they're still basing their team around their squad last season. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on.
Yeah, it's going to be their home form, isn't it, for Sheffield United and Villa and Norwich this season. I think It's going to determine their season. Back to this game then, 61 minutes almost gone. The camera inevitably goes on Wilfried Zaha as he warms up on the far touchline. It's with Seamus Coleman here down the right hand side. Little ball infield to Schneiderlin, clipped up towards Richarlison. Good turn from the Brazilian into the edge of the area. Sigurdsson trying to get in on his left foot, hits the target, but not too much power in the shot. Goalkeeper Gaeta makes a save.
Yeah, a bit of a bounce on that, which could have made it more difficult for Gaeta, but in the end, the keeper does make comfortable save. We just had confirmation that it was Chris Metham, the centre-back, that has given Bournemouth the lead against Sheffield United. That's a big goal for him, and Bournemouth, of course, underachievers last year, so they'll be expected to do better this season. Yeah,
difficult to work out what Bournemouth are going to do this season. They tailed off a bit, didn't they? Had a good start, but tailed off somewhat. And brought in some new faces. Sigurdsson's just watched that one go out of play. Palace going to restart here with Van Aanholt, as we were saying about how long we're going to wait before we see maybe the likes of Zaha or Moise Kean coming on for his Everton debut. It's gone off a Palace player, but more encouraging from Crystal Palace, though, to say the least, in this second half, after Everton had started the second period again on the front foot. It's broken here for Calvert-Lewin. Now Richarlison, space for Bernard, left hand side, just couldn't get it under his spell. It's drifted away to the right side, but then he tries a lovely turn, but Joel Ward wasn't going to be fooled by it, and the Palace fullback stands his ground and plays it down the right hand side. I think it might have bounced out of play, and it's going to be Everton who keep the ball in. I think Brighton have just got a second goal at Watford. In comes the cross from Everton, and the near side, I think Richarlison's been penalised for a pull, though. Andone has got the goal for Brighton.
Yeah, the Romanian forward has made it to 2-0 now. So Watford, side who've looked good in the last couple of seasons under Javi Gracia, making a bit of a mess of it on the first day of the season today. But what a great start for Graham Potter.
Yeah, Graham Potter, a bit surprised with a lot of people surprised with the sacking of Chris Hughton and the appointment of Graham Potter.
You could put me in that category, absolutely. I was surprised.
Swansea were, let's just say, average.
They were average with a half decent team as well. They certainly didn't pull up any trees, and it's an interesting one to get Potter in, and they've backed him as well. But looks like we're maybe getting our first goal in the game at Turf Moor. Ashley Barnes giving Burnley the lead against Southampton.
Yeah, they lead the Saints by a goal to 0. I think Burnley might have a better start to the season, that they're not in the Europa League this time around. Ball is up over the halfway line. Palace trying to get themselves on the front foot here. They're looking for the throw. Max Meyer is incensed by that decision, and we're going to have Wilfried Zaha introduced into the action. A man making a lot of the headlines on transfer deadline day and then was never transferred. So one of those that didn't come off.
Yeah, well, he's got just over 25 minutes here coming on for Jordan Ayew.
Yeah, maybe not too surprising. So they'll probably now play Zaha on the left, Benteke down the middle.
Well, it was always going to be Ayew or Meyer to go off, wasn't it? They were going to leave Benteke as the front man. Townsend, although he's had a very, very quiet game, he's one of these players that can get you something out of nothing. So Zaha coming on now, and Hodgson will be hoping that can just tip the scale in Palace's favour.
Yeah, I'm not convinced Jordan Ayew is going to get the goals for Crystal Palace this season. We've seen him have that good chance as well, haven't we, in this second half? And Roy Hodgson has decided to choose this moment to bring on Wilfried Zaha for Crystal Palace. Still Palace 0, Everton 0. Palace have finally turned up in this second half. They've had two wonderful chances to get their noses in front. First, Christian Benteke sliding in Jordan Ayew one-on-one with Jordan Pickford, who made an excellent save. He's had nothing to do in the match up until that point, blocked it well. And then Max Meyer was played in, had the chance to maybe go round the keeper's shot. Maybe should have gone across Pickford, but it went straight at him. He blocked that one as well. But the moment has come at Selhurst Park, with Palace finally getting themselves into the game. Wilfried Zaha is on for Ayew, and he'll play the final 25 minutes of this one, 0-0.
Yeah, and Zaha just getting some instructions to Max Meyer. There was potentially something that he heard on the bench just before he was coming on. Milivojevic with the header now forward for Palace. The referee John Moss gets in the way there. That's going to help out Everton as well. The referee's given a free kick there. I'm not really quite sure for what, unless he's given that for the fact that he stopped the ball, but I'm not quite sure. I think he might have seen a challenge there just as Palace were losing possession. Doesn't seem to be too much of a protest from Everton, unless, well, it is a drop ball, so it's just an uncontested drop ball to give Palace possession back after the referee got in the way. I must admit, I've not seen that before. It's generally regarded the referee is just a moving post, isn't he? If the ball hits him, you just play on from wherever the ball lands. But I think
it's one of the new rules, isn't it? If it hits the ref, that they
can. But well, it happened in the early game today where it definitely hit Mike Dean, but he didn't feel the need to stop. Perhaps he felt that the ball was carrying on in the same direction that it was moving anyway. Whereas there, the unfortunate deflection of John Moss completely changed the way that passage of play was going. But Everton are moving forward now down the left-hand side.
Yeah, they are. They're looking to forge an opportunity here. Sigurdsson with good strength finds Seamus Coleman down the right-hand side. Played infield to Schneiderlin. Schneiderlin out to Coleman. Once again, poor pass from Schneiderlin though, and it's gone behind Coleman almost, and it's gone out of play, and that was really poor from Morgan Schneiderlin there. And just wonder, surely he's got to get Moise Kean on, hasn't he? They've lost a bit of momentum, Everton here.
I think so. They've come out in the second half not without that spring in their step that they had in the first. Palace, in fairness, haven't really jumped on it too much, but Palace already looked better than they did in the first half, and Everton looked decidedly worse.
It's hooked over his shoulder there by Coleman. It's out of play. Bounced back onto the field of play. And will be thrown, right on cue, I think. He's going to come on. So that should be a manager.
Either that or someone with an earpiece.
Well, he didn't need to be a manager to work that out, though. Really.
Well, you never know. Maybe someone on that bench has got a commentary on in the background there. We're trying to get some advice. But in all seriousness, Kean is going to come on soon. That is very exciting news. An exciting player coming in from Serie A, and it looks as though that sort of reaction from Marco Silva means that he isn't happy with what his side are doing. But they are trying to go on the counter now. Yeah,
really surprised. Juventus' reaction to him leaving was a real surprise, wasn't he? They didn't see that one coming, really. Juventus here are Everton down the left-hand side. They might have an attack before he gets onto the field. It's played to this left-hand flank. Little turn from Bernard. Bernard in to the left corner of the area. Everton overplaying it. Becomes to Richarlison. Oh, it's just gone wide of that right-hand post. Thought that was curling in. Gaeta looked beaten. Did he get a slight touch on it? We're just going to have a look at it again. But it broke actually fortuitously. They overplayed it really, Everton. He hits it. Oh, it's just wide. It hits the stanchion next to the post, doesn't it? But really good effort from Richarlison. Perfect for him to curl it. Just couldn't get it on target.
No,
it goes wide.
Marco Silva there almost exasperated with that one as well. He could see that was a great opportunity for his side to take the lead, but the change is coming, and it's going to be Calvert-Lewin who gets the hook.
Yeah, I was going to say it probably was going to be him, wasn't it? Straight like for like with Moise Kean on. Of course, at the centre of that racism incident which happened at Juventus last season, and didn't really get the backing of his own manager and teammates at the time. Caused a few headlines, but he's on now for his Everton debut, and one of the latest men in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely, and so we're very excited to see how he is going to get on. It's he's in an exciting team as well, where you'd imagine, because of the fact that Everton haven't really got that out-and-out striker, Tosin will get a few goals, Calvert-Lewin will get a few goals, Kean is going to get a good amount of game time, you would imagine.
Well, they never bought centre forward, did they? When Lukaku went, they were sort of scratching around for goals, and
they had, who was it they signed? They signed, it was Garcia. There was Sandro Garcia, it was, who really was not very good, and then Tosin's had a few good games, but again, he's not a 25 goal a season man.
We're well past the midway point, getting carried away here, Paul, so I'll let you take us through to full time.
Thank you very much, John. Yes, we've got just over 20 minutes. There'll be a little bit of injury time as well in this game. It is goalless. It's in fact the only game that's now goalless from the 3 o'clock kickoffs, with Burnley leading by a goal to nil, potentially 2 goals to nil against Southampton. We're hearing Bournemouth 1 up against Sheffield United, and Watford 2 goals down at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. But here come Everton now, trying to move forward down the right-hand side. Seamus Coleman gets to the edge of the area. That's a good stand-up challenge there, though, from Van Aanholt. Sends the ball down the left-hand side. Zaha is dispossessed, and I think, John, we can confirm that it has been another goal for Ashley Barnes.
Yeah, Ashley Barnes got a second for Burnley. Good start to the season for the Clarets. Not the start that Ralph Hasenhüttl would have wanted. People think Southampton are going to have a better season as well. Here are Palace down the left.
Yeah, Zaha getting to the edge of the area. Good challenge, though. Gets the ball out. Richarlison, as he deflected that off Zaha, he was appealing it like it should be a free kick. A throw on to Everton, and I think the referees agreed, and certainly Zaha's looking a little bit perplexed by that, but it's a throw on to the home side. to the visitors, I should say, and now a chance for them to try and clear their lines.
Well, Palace will be hoping, won't they? Zaha is professional and gets his head down and doesn't sort of sulk and mope, because we can see that with players at times.
Well, it's not going to help him now, is it? I think that certainly you would hope that as of now he's got it out of his system, and potentially by Christmas we might see a bit more of a tantrum from him again if he really, really wants that move. But then at the same time, Arsenal, I don't think were really that serious about signing him. If it's true that they offered 40 million, and that wasn't even a one-off payment. They wanted that to be spread across instalments. Zaha's worth more than that.
If Wan-Bissaka's worth 50, then he's worth more than 40.
Of course he is. Yeah, of course he is. On that basis, he's a forward player. He's a player, as I mentioned, who gets something out of nothing, and those players are always worth a bit more. When the team's doing nothing, he can just have a bit of a dribble, a bit of skill, a strike out of absolutely nowhere, and give your side a goal. And those players are hard to come by in the Premier League, and he's proved it time and time and again for Palace as Zaha. But Everton now, I was about to say they're on the attack. They might be off the attack by the time I finish talking, because the ball to Richarlison was overhit. He then can't do much with it at all, and it's just out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Everton I don't know, they've just lost their way a little bit. They had the chance from Richarlison, but you certainly think they do look they're most likely with the options they got on the pitch to get in front, but
perhaps to come on for a defender who might be carrying a bit of an injury there. We'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, long clearance there from Gaeta, headed forward there by Gambia. This ball now picked up by the Ivorian again, gets brought down, and that will be a free kick to Everton. And he's got to be careful. Milivojevic is on a yellow card already. We are getting some information that there was a VAR review of his challenge in the first half. They were considering giving him a red card for that first half challenge as well. So considering that and the fact he's already on a booking, he's really got to be careful there, Luka Milivojevic. But the free kick is taken long out towards the right hand side now, picked up by Coleman. Coleman just playing it short to Richarlison. He then rolls it towards... Well, there's going to be a free kick there for Everton, isn't there? Player bundled off the ball, but the referee decided no foul, and Zaha can bring it forward now for Palace, looking to get an early through ball in. But that is a good block, and Everton are now back in possession here with Schneiderlin. And that was a very poor touch there from Sigurdsson, just losing the ball quite easily. And now a chance for Palace to get forward now as Maya gets the ball to Townsend. Townsend's cross is only partially cleared. There might still be a chance as the shot comes in from Zaha. It's charged down. A second effort is eventually cleared. And Palace still keep the ball alive there with a block on the halfway line from Scott Dan. Milivojevic goes out towards the right hand side. Joel Ward now with a deep cross. Zaha does keep it in play, but all he can do is head it straight to the feet of Michael Keane, who clears it towards the halfway line. I think there's going to be a free kick or a goal kick in the meantime to Everton anyway.
Thought that was going to be the moment for Zaha. Just wouldn't drop for him, would it? He just had to take another touch and try and get the shot away. It ended up being blocked. But just having another look at it here on the right hand side. In fact, this is the other one, isn't it, where it looked like he was just about offside, maybe.
That's what the flag went up for. Yeah, that clearance came in. The linesman put his flag up. I do think that the linesmen are getting some help from VAR live as well, because we've seen it already a couple of times where the flag doesn't go up straight away, but then a few seconds later it does. And previously, Premier League linesmen were that well trained; they wouldn't need that long to do a sort of replay in their head. So I think they are just being advised, which makes sense. I think there've been a few decisions where the flag's gone up too soon. We don't need the flag to go up too soon, of course, because we can see that you can always correct it if the linesman misses it live. But we've got a third goal at Vicarage Road, and it's not going to be a comeback from Watford. It's going to be a debut goal for Neil Maupay, signed from Brentford during the window. Gets his first goal coming off the bench, but getting back to Selhurst Park is a great chance here for Palace. As it was Van Aanholt on the left hand side. He broke into the box, played across all the way towards the back post, and it needed a touch from Luca Dean to put it out for a corner kick.
Yeah, that was a good chance. No one taking a gamble on that far stick, though. They was trying to pick out Benteke. He just seemed to hang back, didn't he, Benteke, rather than going towards the goal. And had he done that, he might have got in on the end of that. And Digne just did well, actually, to hook it behind. He could have easily put it into his own net.
Could have done very easily, absolutely. We're not going to get a comeback at Turf Moor either. Burnley are now 3-0 up at home to Southampton. Johan Berg Gudmundsson with the third goal for the Clarets this afternoon. The corner kick's been completely wasted by Crystal Palace. Townsend's got so much whip on that, the ball just flies across the penalty area and out harmlessly for a throw to Everton on their right hand side.
Well, Wilfred Zaha is on for Crystal Palace, and he almost had an opportunity to put them in front against Everton. Still 0-0 in this one. It just wouldn't drop to him in the box. He tried to get an effort on target, but it was blocked by the Everton defence. The best chance has actually come at the other end, though. Ball fell to Richarlison on the edge of the area. Hit it first time, a curling shot. The goalkeeper, Gaeta, was beaten, but it drifted to the right of the post. And it went behind for a goal kick, and it was Everton who'd come close there with Moise Kean also on, but now we've just had a red card in the game, and it is Morgan Schneidlin who has just been sent off for Everton for a challenge on Scott Dann. So Everton are down to 10 men. It's 0-0.
Well, we've been criticising Milivojevic for getting stuck in after he's been booked, but that's a clumsy challenge from Morgan Schneidlin, considering that he was on a yellow card from earlier. He's actually gone in on Milivojevic, ironically enough. But the other thing as well is that you mentioned, John, that of course he doesn't get that much first team game time as Morgan Schneidlin, so now getting that second yellow card, he's going to be suspended for at least one game. You can see that certainly Marco Silva is unimpressed with that. He's having a word with our fourth official, Mr. Hicks, this afternoon, Craig Hicks, who's having to listen to Marco Silva being a bit unhappy. I mean, he actually gets a little bit of the ball there, Schneidlin. Is that an obvious second yellow card? Roy Hodgson's reaction there tells me that he doesn't think it was a second yellow either. He sort of grimaced a little bit as if to say that he's embarrassed that card's been given. Tom Davies is going to come on because Marco Silva still wants that second holding midfielder to take the place of Morgan Schneidlin. So this might mean a hook for Bernard or for Richarlison. I would imagine one of those two gentlemen will be have to be replaced. Moise Kean, of course, has only just come on, and you still need some kind of goal threat, but certainly getting shots of the Everton away end now. A couple of the supporters there didn't look too thrilled as Morte there, Marco Silva's assistant, just getting a couple of final instructions there to Tom Davies. And that's the whole problem, isn't it? That Schneidlin needs to be careful, of course, because Davies is waiting to take his place, isn't he? But the free kick now for Palace. Ball floated to the edge of the area. There was already an offside before the ball even dropped to Wilfred Zaha. Free kick now to Everton.
Well, also Fabian Delph as well. He's going to be first choice, isn't he? So, yeah, Schneidlin not helping his cause this afternoon.
No.
But, yeah, poor challenge when you're on a yellow, isn't it? You're already on a yellow. And just a bit clueless from Schneidlin, really.
It is, and it's not either of the wide men, so he still wants to have his two pacemen, Richarlison and Bernard, on the field, does Marco Silva. It's actually Gylfi Sigurdsson. You know, Slander's not had a great game today. He's another one of these players that when he plays well, he plays really well. When he plays badly, he just actually does stand out with how sometimes how pedestrian he is. I've noticed that one of the new rules that's come in for the season hasn't really been enforced too much as yet, and that's this idea that when you're substitute, you're supposed to just walk off the field wherever, then make your way round to the bench. Players still seem to be going towards the halfway line themselves at the moment, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's a bit. I was reading that rule. It's a bit daft though. They go off at the far side, they then still have to wait for him to go sort of off behind the goal as well, because they reckon he might still be in shot or something. I was reading.
Well, the idea is to speed things up, of course, because I mean the walk that footballers have managed to teach themselves when they go off the field is a sort of jog that happens to be that looks like slower than a walk, really, isn't it? They waste so much time doing that, and teams always make a substitution in injury time to try and kill a few seconds. So it's to try and negate all of that, really.
I've seen my team. One of the players knows he's going to come off and deliberately runs over to the far touchline, and then they bring him off and he walks all the way back.
Well, that's
if you're winning, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's the idea is that they're trying to sort of get a bit of a lid on that. But we've got just over 10 minutes to go in this game. It is still goalless, and with that red card for Everton, that might change the way they approach these final moments. Just a question of whether Palace can capitalise and try and get that winning goal. Yeah,
absolutely. Palace might try and push for the win now. Everton might be happy with the point from Selhurst Park.
Well, just as you say that, though, it's a giveaway of possession, but the pass back to Kean is not a good one. Palace just messing about with it in their own half. A loose ball quickly played back to the new signing, but it didn't quite reach him. The ball was back with Gaeta, and now Palace looking to bring the ball out. Huge pass there from Martin Kelly, trying to pick out Van Aanholt. He applauds the pass, but he couldn't quite keep it in play. Throw on now to Everton, still inside their own half. They need to try and work out a way of playing these final 10 minutes, whether or not they're just going to try and shut up shop and, as you say, be happy with the point, or actually still think that they can go on and win this game.
Yeah, Tom Davies just sort of playing in front of the back line there, isn't he? And of course they've lost both central midfielders for different reasons this afternoon, haven't they? Everton, Andre Gomez injury, and now Schneidlin to a red.
Never easy, is it? You want your two holding midfielders to be the linchpin of the side, really. But in the meantime, here come Everton down the right-hand side. Just a bit of a poor pass in the end there from Gabin, trying to get the ball across towards Richarlison. He's out for a throw now down the left-hand side. Ball goes back to Van Aanholt. He's under a bit of pressure there, so he just rolls it back towards Scott Dan and Martin Kelly. And to the home side once again, just slowly bringing the ball forward, looking to try and perhaps just build a bit more of an attack in these final minutes. I think now with the way the second half has gone and with the red card, I suppose Palace should really be looking to still would try and win the game.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? They've still got, Benteke, Zaha now on, Townsend, as a threat. I think they need to start well at home, Palace, don't they? Psychologically, if they don't win a home game again, and after what happened to them last season, got to.
Well, it seems like they're always trying to break a record, wasn't it? For a long time, it was that record that they can't win a game in the Premier League without Zaha.
Yeah.
Then they finally managed to do that a few times last season, but now it's this home form that's still hanging over them, as they're looking to bring on Connor Wickham now for these final few moments. Everton have used all three of their subs. Palace have just used the one so far. Wickham will be the second substitute to come on when he does. The ball's still in play for now, though. But the game has slowed down in the meantime as well. It's gone to a bit more of a pedestrian pace. It's as if Everton aren't able to push because they're down to 10, and Palace aren't able to push either for whatever reason. There's a giveaway, they give the ball away there on the halfway line. Tom Davies now trying to move forward for Everton. He was being held onto there as well, and he wins his side a free kick.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit scrappy since the red card. We haven't really had an opportunity. It's almost like neither side really knows how to approach the sort of final few minutes of the game, but maybe this is a sign that they are trying to be positive, but it is a like-for-like change with Benteke off and Wickham on.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Connor Wickham now coming on for these final few minutes, replacing Christian Benteke, another player who's really had problems with his form and his fitness over the last couple of years, Connor Wickham. But certainly has shown glimpses that when he is in form and when he gets the service, he will get goals, and that's desperately what Palace need. So the ball is now over in Palace territory, but it should still be Crystal Palace ball. In fact, no, Moise Kean has won it back here for Everton. But he's having to just stop his run momentarily, just rolls the ball back now. Here is Bernard on the left-hand side. He's got options, but he just chooses a short ball, and Everton just being pushed back a little bit, and eventually the ball goes out of play.
Yeah, Bernard, he's one of those, he's got great skill, hasn't he, a good touch, but sometimes no end product from him, is there? So he struggles a little bit to get that final crossing or that final ball.
He does, yeah. That's been his issue, and but there've been games last season where he was superb. There was one game in particular, I think it was I did Boxing Day, when Everton played away to Burnley. Absolutely superb from Bernard, unstoppable. Where he had a goal, had an assist, and he just looked. He was by miles the man of the match on that particular occasion. In the meantime, now it's out on the left-hand side, a throw on to Everton. But the big man Connor Wickham is on for Palace now. He's got just under 7 minutes to try and influence this game somehow. But if he's not going to get the service, of course, Wickham isn't the sort of player to run with it from the halfway line. So Palace will need to be in some kind of possession before they can get the ball to him. But the long ball played out towards the right-hand side. Coleman gets there, puts a cross into the near post. Just far too close to that near post, and in a very comfortable save for Gaeta.
Yeah, they got forward well, haven't they, the fullbacks this afternoon, but that was a poor cross by Seamus Coleman. Standards usually does better with that, especially when you're down to 10 men and suddenly you have a rare chance in behind the other side's back line to get a decent ball into that area, and just failed to do so. Yeah,
couldn't get it towards the couldn't find a teammate in the end with that last one. But Scott Dan now in possession inside the Palace half. No real pressing from Everton until Palace crossed the halfway line. Milivojevic now finding Zaha, just tries to bounce off his man and then rolls the ball across towards Meyer. Left-hand edge of the penalty area, trying to pick out Van Aanholt, who's too strong for him, but the pass is still made to Van Aanholt, this time by Townsend. The pass didn't quite reach him. Townsend then commits the foul, trying to win the ball back, so it'll be a free kick to Everton.
Yeah, didn't make the most of that, did they? Palace had a good opportunity in and around the Everton box then. A little bit of a stupid trip from Townsend on Davies when he wasn't really particularly going anywhere, and cheap free kick. We've seen quite a few cheap free kicks given away.
It's been that kind of game, hasn't it? It's been a stop-start sort of game. There's been too many situations where the referee's just not been able to let the game flow, even if he'd have wanted to. And still get a feeling that both these sides aren't quite up to gear and aren't quite up to speed yet this season, are they?
Yeah, and Palace, have to integrate. Gary Cahill's going to be a starter, isn't he? And Camarasa might feature a bit more as well for Palace. Cardiff are reasonably pleased with what he did with them last season.
Yeah, I thought we had a decent season in a team that didn't attack very much and ultimately got relegated. I think that it's hard to have an amazing season as a forward, but I think Camarasa in that attacking midfield, central midfield role, I certainly think he did well. Here come Everton now, though, ball coming in from the right-hand side. It's through everyone in the penalty area and out for an Everton throw.
Yeah, I think it flicked off a Palace player, didn't it? Because Gaeta was trying to sprint after that to prevent that from going for the throw, but couldn't do so. But 4 minutes to go. Are Everton going to be brave here, Paul, and try and snatch the winner? They take a point, won't they, now?
I think they take a point now. I think that's considering that they are down to 10 men, and it could really be a difficult one if they were to concede so late. Of course, there's not really any way of getting back, as we have an equaliser at the Vitality. It was 1-0 to Bournemouth, but now we have an equaliser
for Sheffield United.
Yeah,
2 minutes from time. We haven't got the goal scorer as yet, but it's one apiece in that one. Billy Sharp has got it, and
carrying on where he left off last season. Billy Sharp, he's very much a natural goal scorer, but here's Zaha, who on his day could certainly be a goal scorer as well, moving forward, trying to keep the ball alive. There was a claim from Everton that there might have been a foul in the build-up. Referee doesn't give the free kick, although he was close to. Looked to me like John Moss already had his whistle in his mouth, but decided there was no need to give a free kick there, as Zaha just tried to run past Coleman. I would say if you give a free kick for that, then the footballers wouldn't be able to have any contact at all.
Yeah, it was a bit harsh, wasn't it, on Zaha? Good chance here, though, for Palace. Have whipped it in. It's headed away by Mina. That was a dangerous ball in. Just haven't gambled on a few of these balls in, have they? They've been a bit hesitant to try and get a couple of bodies in the box to try and get on the end of it.
That's exactly it, isn't it? They just need to have that additional player or two in that box to try and attack the ball. Here is Coleman now for Davies, but the ball doesn't reach him, and a chance now for Palace to get forward. Benteke rolling the ball back towards Townsend. He goes back down this right-hand side for a Ward. Now a chance to get the ball in. It's charged down, the cross deflects out, and it is going to be a corner kick.
Yeah, good play from Zaha there. Good positive play. Trying to finish it on the front foot. Can they snatch the winner? Palace here with 2 minutes to go. They've got a corner. They threaten with a set piece.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a case of what kind of whip that Andros Townsend is going to get on this ball. He's overhit a couple of his crosses today. How's he going to cope with this one? Takes a little bit of the height off it. He was aiming for the number 21, but the ball has been quickly cleared. He was aiming for Connor Wickham, but didn't quite reach him. An opportunity now as Zaha trying to get the ball back to Townsend. He does deflect the ball off an Everton man, so it is going to be a throw to the home side. Wanted to take it quickly, Townsend. He's screaming come on at his teammates now because he's got no options to pass.
Yeah, they're thinking of getting on with it here. It's 11 against 10. You're at home. You need the home win. You need to get the fans on side early on in this campaign after poor home form, as we've been alluding to. There's a chance, though.
Great opportunity coming in at the near post. Wickham's shot is blocked. There's still an opportunity for Zaha. He gets blocked on the line and it rolls into Pickford eventually. That was very, very close indeed to Crystal Palace taking a lead with just a minute and a half to go of normal time.
Brilliant play from Zaha, though, wasn't it? Great turn away from Davis. Just left him for dead. Just tried to roll it into Wickham at the near post. And just enough Everton legs in the way to block it. Just wondered if the defender blocked it, or was it Pickford? It was the defender, Keane, wasn't it? Got enough on it, and
yeah, he
wouldn't
did
come back to Zaha. And Mina did well actually as well with another good challenge on Zaha.
Well, absolutely. Sometimes you'd have to double and treble up on Zaha, don't you, to make sure that you do actually get the ball off him. Throw on now to Palace, thrown out to Everton down their left-hand side. And overall, I think Roy Hodgson would say that the way the first half went, he would have been very disappointed. A better response in the second half, but ultimately Everton haven't really offered much of an attacking threat in the second half, and Palace haven't done too much to really threaten the goal themselves.
Well, Zaha's got in the game, hasn't he? But Moise Kean hasn't at the other end.
He's not had the service.
But they were down to 10 men soon after he came on, to be fair.
That's true, as Bernard now rolls the ball through for Luca Dean. Luca Dean trying to play that ball into some space. There was a channel at the edge of the area on the left-hand side. He thought he was going to get on the end of it, but just overplayed the ball, and ultimately it goes out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, the ball down that left-hand side, again, just maybe overplayed it. They could have just played that into the box. Moise Kean was there inside the area and he looked frustrated. We're going to have 4 minutes of added on time at the end of the 90. We're into that added on time now.
We are, yes. And is there going to be an injury time winner in this game this afternoon? No other late goals to tell you about elsewhere. So it's still 1-1 between Bournemouth and Sheffield United. 3-0 Burnley at home to Southampton, and Watford losing 3-0 at home to Brighton. As there's an offside flag against Connor Wickham there. Free kick to Everton and a chance for them to hold on to the ball again.
Yeah, chance to restart with that one. Wickham trying to put himself about, isn't he? He's quite a big unit up there. But again, not sure he's the answer for them long term with the injury problems that he's had for Crystal Palace. But good to see him out there, I suppose, if you're a Palace fan after all the issues that he's had. And Jordan Pickford's just going to relieve the danger here with a free kick.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's not good enough, he's not good enough. But the fact is that for the past 2 years, it's been very difficult to judge how good he is, because he just doesn't get any game time with all the injuries that he's suffered, Connor Wickham. But we've still got 3 minutes of injury time to play in this game, and Everton now trying to go on the attack. Ball chipped over the top, looking for Coleman. Ball deflected off Coleman by Meyer, so it's going to be a throw to Palace, still close to their own penalty area, and they'll just be looking to hold on to the ball.
Yeah, Meyer had that great chance, didn't he, in the second half? Should have hit it across Pickford to find the corner of the net. Might be looking back on that one at the end of the game. Those two chances in quick succession were the ones that Palace needed to take one of those, didn't they? And Zaha with another good turn, and he's looking lively, you know. He's putting the not that saying he wasn't going to, but certainly fully committed to the Palace cause. And Townsend going to take this, throwing down the left-hand side to Wickham.
Absolutely, yeah. Wickham rolling it back to Townsend, but he doesn't like being on the left-hand side, even though he's left-footed. He prefers getting balls in from his left foot from the right-hand side. In the end, the pass is cut off, and a chance now for the ball to go forward for Everton. And Richarlison, I mean, he goes down quite theatrically there. He's saying to where it starts.
He's pointing to Milivojevic, saying it should be a second yellow, isn't he? Trying to get him sent off there.
He's committed 2 fouls now, one of which could be regarded as a professional foul, and he's done that after he's been booked. So it's certainly something to think about. 65% for possession for Everton throughout the match, just 35 for Crystal Palace. Palace have still got one change left if they choose to make it. And so far, ball going all the way back towards Pickford again, who's had more to do in this second half, but still not too much.
No, they've not done enough, have they, Palace, really? There were those 2 great chances, they haven't taken one of them, and Everton reasonably comfortable. Even with 10 men, they've looked pretty comfortable, Everton, in the final quarter of the game.
No, they haven't looked like a side who are going to concede, that's for sure. Well, certainly not very much anyway. And Palace, in the meantime, I've got some defending to do as Luca Dean puts a ball in from the left-hand side. Is headed away. Bernard trying to get on the end of the second one, but he's just dispossessed of it. And the ball with the outside of the boot from Milivojevic is played up towards the halfway line, where Yuri Mina and Wilfred Zaha are trying to get into some kind of scuffle there. Yuri Mina, they're doing an acting audition as well, so being hugely shocked when he finds that the decision's gone against him. But again, that's all to waste time.
Yeah, it was a foul, wasn't it? He had his arms on him. Zaha had just got in front of him and a little bit of tugging from both of them, but it was initially a foul by the Colombian there. I don't think you can have too many complaints. Palace just going to launch one into the box here, the final few seconds.
Looks like that's what they're going to try and do. I think they've not really got many other options because there's so little time left in the game. And Everton are trying to counter that by playing a very, very high offside line, making it difficult for Palace to get anyone positioned anywhere near the box. And we've had the full 4 minutes now. The ball played towards the edge of the area, volleyed away though by Michael Keane. And a fight for it in midfield before the ball is given in favour of Everton, and in fact there'll be no time to take the free kick.
Right, so full time it finished 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Everton. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at the match stats for the game, then we're going to go through every other result in the English League. So if we go through Crystal Palace, Everton, the possession 65% to Everton, 35% to Crystal Palace. 10 shots for Everton, 6 for Crystal Palace. 3 shots on target for Everton, 2 for Crystal Palace. 6 corners for Crystal Palace, 2 for Everton. If you are new to the channel and you want to see more Everton and Crystal Palace live commentaries, I'm going to be doing loads of them in the next month or two. So if you could hit the subscribe button, that would be great. There's 30 people in here, and I think like at least 10 of you aren't probably subscribed, so if you could subscribe, that would be great. We've managed to hit 1,400 today, so thank you for that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the, well, we'll actually see no more subscribe and notifications have come up. So, but there has been like 3 or 4 subs this stream. I said no. Yeah, Josh, you got your prediction right. I think that's the first person that's watched the the first viewer that's got a score prediction correct for this season, I think. Can't remember. But if we go through every other game. So Bournemouth v Sheffield United finished 1-1. If we go through that, goal for Metham in the 62nd minute, and then Sharp scoring a late equaliser. Burnley beat Southampton 3-0. Barnes scoring 2 goals, and then Goodmanson scoring a goal. 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Everton. Brighton winning 3-0. Ducorig having an own goal, and then Andone scoring, and then Mupé as well. So brilliant result for Brighton away from home. Tottenham v Villa, we're going to be doing live commentary for in 5 minutes. Scottish League, we have some results here, not going to read them. But early kick-off was Leeds Nottingham Forest, that finished 1-0. Full time between Birmingham and Bristol City is 1-0. Goal scorers there, not going to read all them out. Cardiff, why does it keep on moving up when I'm about to click this? But it's at the moment 2-1. Vassals just scored a 96th minute potential winner against Luton, which is unfortunate for the newly promoted side. Charlton are going to get the 3 points against Stoke. Derby v Swansea looks like it's about to end 0-0. Fulham are beating Blackburn 2-0. Hull at the moment hanging on to a 2-1 win. Brentford at the moment hanging on to a 1-0 win. Preston comfortably winning against Wigan. QPR drawing 1-0 to Huddersfield. There's a bit of delay on that because a minute silence or so. Sheffield Wednesday winning against Barnsley. That'll probably be the final score. West Brom v Millwall is 1-0 at the moment. There may be a late goal, I'm not sure. But Bolton in League One drawing 0-0 against Coventry, so they're on minus 11 points now. Bristol Rovers drawing 0-0 against Wickham. Fleetwood 2-1 against Wimbledon. Burton beating Gillingham 2-1. 1-0 between Ipswich and Sunderland. 0-0 between MK Dons and Shrewsbury. Oxford get their first win of the season against Peterborough. Portsmouth winning 2-0 against Tranmere. Rochdale winning 1-0 against Doncaster. Rotherham losing 2-0 against Lincoln. Blackpool winning 3-1 against Southend. Then League 2, the earlier kick-off. Romsey 1-0 Bradford. Cambridge drawing 0-0 against Newport. Cheltenham beating Scunthorpe 4-1. Crawley winning 2-0 against Salford. Macclesfield winning 3-0 against Leyton Orient. Mansfield v Morecambe is currently 2-2. Oldham v Crewe is currently 2-1 to Crewe. Plymouth beating Colchester 1-0. Port Vale drawing 1-0 against Northampton. Exeter winning 1-0 against Stevenage. Swindon winning 3-2 against Carlisle at the moment. And then at the moment it's 1-0 between Walsall and Forest Green. Won't worry about non-league. We're just going to look at the tables. We'll start with the Premier League. So Brighton move up to 3rd, Burnley move up to 4th, Bournemouth 5th, Sheffield United 6th, Crystal Palace 7th, Everton 8th. And then those teams are yet to play. And then Norwich, Southampton, Watford and West Ham down at the bottom, as those 4 teams are the only ones that have lost this season. Moving on to the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday go top of the league. Them and Charlton winning 2 out of 2. Only 2 teams that have done that at the moment. Leeds, QPR, West Brom, Derby, Swansea, Birmingham and Millwall on 4 points. Preston, Fulham, Cardiff, Hull, Brentford, Barnsley and Wigan on 3 points. Luton and Middlesbrough on 1 point. Huddersfield also on 1 point. Same with Nottingham Forest and Bristol City, and then the rest are on 0 points, who are in the relegation zone. Stoke, Blackburn and Reading in the relegation zone, losing both games. Moving on to League 1. Blackpool, Lincoln and Fleetwood with 100% records, going top 3 in the league. Wycombe, Rochdale, Ipswich, Oxford and Coventry with 4 points. Portsmouth, MK Dons, who have only played 1 game, so they've got a 100% record, as well as them top 3. Burton, Shrewsbury and Rotherham on 3 points. Doncaster and Sunderland on 2 points, drawing both games. Gillingham on 1 point with Bristol Rovers, and then the rest here on 0 points, except the bottom 2, Bolton getting a draw. And so they're on -11. Bury yet to play on -12. And moving on to League 2. Plymouth, Swindon, Exeter with 100% records. Grimsby, Forest Green and Walsall on 4 points. Cheltenham, Maxfield, Crawley, Carlisle, Salford, Crewe, Leyton Orient all on 3 points. Mansfield, Newport, Port Vale, Bradford and Cambridge all on 2 points, so they're all unbeaten, which is pretty decent. Colchester and Northampton on 1 point. Same with Morecambe and Oldham, Stevenage and Scunthorpe losing all their games so far. And they're at the bottom. Thank you to Jack Wallace for putting live score updates and championship games throughout the stream as well. That's all for this stream. I'm going to end this stream now. I'm going to restart another one in 2 minutes for Tottenham versus Aston Villa. Should be a good game. We'll go through my predictions, this chat's predictions and the lineups once we've done that. So thanks for watching this stream. And is there any more people that sub? Doesn't look like it. We got a new subscriber. It should pop up if you haven't your setting thing turned on.